I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Welcome to Astrology Live. I am your host, Alex Harper, and joining me is my co-host, Gracie. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing?
Happy summer solstice.
Yes, happy solstice. We are doing this special solstice episode to celebrate Gracie's release of the second issue of her magazine, The Northern. And joining us as our special guest, it is my pleasure to introduce Jamal Roberson, who wrote an article for Gracie's magazine. Hey, how are you doing, Jamal?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. I'm excited.
And thank you for
start
having
of
me.
cancer season. We're alive and we're well. That's all you can really ask for. No one's drowning in tears yet. So joke's on them.
So yeah, it's really cool to be here on the solar ingress, right? I'm excited. Jamal, you wrote an article for Gracie's magazine. You want to start off by telling us a little bit about that?
Yes. So we came up with an idea to talk about Jeff Bezos and Amazon, who has been pretty much killing it as long as I don't know how long, since the 90s, late 90s, the 1999 now. So a few more years coming up on the Saturn return for Amazon. So they've been killing it for a long time. It's one of the biggest success stories, and there was like a lot of information about Jeff Bezos and Amazon, astrologically speaking, out there too. So it just felt like the best option, and it kind of came together super seamlessly.
I'm surprised with how much information is out there about Jeff. You can track his love life, you can track his private jets, you can track his yacht, but you don't know what time he was born. How exactly do we go about getting Jeff Bezos' birth time? We got to know. This man is a machine more than he is human.
Right. And usually I feel like whenever you see something like that where you can't tell when someone's born or there's like a discrepancy, I think I was joking with you the other day, it's usually a Neptune thing. I always see Neptune somewhere in the mix when you can't find a birth time or something like that for someone. Or even if they do know, it's like they're still like, I don't know if I was born at that exact time.
I love that.
Can
With his
everyone
chart,
hear the
too, I know
audio
that-
okay?
Yeah, I think there's just a little bit of like crackling on Jamal's, and just when you're talking, I'm not sure if it's like a volume thing or I know that.
It sounded fine before we started. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was
Okay.
just making. I just wanted.
No, I want to make
just
sure
me
it's
or
not us too.
It's my pesky Mercury, guys. I'm sorry.
It's never your pesky Mercury. We got to stick together. Pisces Mercury, Sag Mercury. It's like, hey, look, we got this.
I think.
Perfect.
Try again,
Try
Jamal. I
this.
think that might have fixed it. Turning you off and turning you back on might have fixed it.
How about now?
It's a little better. Is it? I think so.
It's a little bit better.
All right, let's just
Definitely.
go forward. So yeah, go on. I'm sorry for interrupting. You were talking about how.
Oh no, please do.
Neptune
Audio
seems to be
issues are a big
prominent.
deal.
Yeah, everyone can hear me, okay, right?
Yes. We got your pop
Great.
screen on. Sounds great.
Yeah. All right. So you were just mentioning that you find Neptune as prominent in charts for public figures when we don't have a birth time. I think that was the last point you made. I think that's really interesting. Yeah. Did you want to? Here, I will actually pull up Jeff Bezos' chart while you continue talking.
Perfect.
I know one thing that stood out about him specifically was the exalted Mars.
Yeah, it's at 29 degrees Capricorn, which is not an easy degree to exist with, let alone having an exalted Mars there.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, there it is. But yeah, so yes, he has an exalted Mars, which, that immediately stood out to me, as well as the Venus conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, which we're in, Pluto and Aquarius now, as well. And, a little while back we had the Jupiter Saturn conjunction also in Aquarius. So I feel like, it's no wonder that Amazon is continuing to just, have a lot of the success that it's already been experiencing for years. So that was kind of what stood out to me. And then also too, a lot of Earth emphasis in his chart, especially with the Uranus, Pluto, Virgo, situation going on down there. So he's just super grounded, which is great for business, super great for business. And then that Sagittarius moon, which you see that often in people who are, big players in the media, like Oprah is another person, I think, with Sagittarius moon as well. So big dreams, big ideals, and they usually tend to kind of manifest, in a very kind of crazy way.
Depending
Yeah,
on his birth time too. Well, we would have maybe even like an early degree Capricorn moon, which could be conjunct his Mercury, which would explain a lot about why he just is fluent in business.
Yes. I find a lot of the time too with people who have Moon Mercury conjunction, they're very good salespeople because people kind of just genuinely like talking to them. They're just very easy to talk to. So that usually translates very well to business success often, And then to have this kind of Mercury also in that trine with Uranus and Pluto down there too, he's just kind of like a radical thinker, radical ideas. And with Pluto, it's definitely, things about ripping things up, so something new can be laid down, which he saw that there was a gap for Amazon, long before what we've seen it become. And, that's kind of a Mercury Uranus thing, kind of like that foresight.
Absolutely. And it's a revolutionizing service to others. With Virgo, that is still such a daily routine thing. And Amazon is known for lifting the pressures that we live in this modern society where we have to have everything right now. It is a service to people still, and it can provide that. As far as like, if you were, because I know that there's been rectifications of Jeff Bezos' chart to where one was at 11:30 a.m. So the Aries rising isn't that far off here. Um, I could see him very much as the Aries rising just because he's known for his bald head and just like all that just kind of being in your face just because the appearance and everything else, but not just like judging people off appearance because we could judge Jeff Bezos off of way more things. Do you feel like there's
yeah.
a certain signature with his chart that really stuck out to you for business?
So you saying the Aries rising, that kind of, I think, resonates because a lot of the time when Mars is super prominent in the chart, someone can find success pretty early on, or it kind of, there's situations that kind of call for that person to kind of develop their Mars energy much quicker, right? But in Capricorn, there's that contrast of Saturn and the old age and Saturn return and things taking a long time to kind of come together. So I feel like Aries rising would kind of make sense because that would put his chart ruler in the 10th whole sign, which is fitting. But in Capricorn, again, it's kind of like a slow, steady build. Amazon did not start off like right out of the gate, roaring in sales. It kind of has taken almost a Saturn cycle to become, an empire at this point. And then Sun in the 10th house too kind of makes sense. Even the South Node kind of hanging out there too, kind of showing early on career success would kind of come easily, right? And then later on, as his older years progress, which we're kind of seeing now, it's more of an inward focus towards, building a family, becoming, secure with a family unit of some kind. So I feel like that actually checks out.
Yeah, same with that Neptune in the seventh house. I recently found my own birth time and found my Neptune went from seventh house to sixth house. And I'm like, well, it's still opposing my rising. So once again, weird birth times. And just with his marriage and everything else, partnership, I feel like having any sort of Venus ruled seventh house, you're going to be looking right to that Venus in Aquarius. Venus loves building things with people and then having their space to kind of like just let those things breathe. And I feel like even though it was started in a garage and it was very much a close proximity for a while, I don't think I can think of another sign besides Aquarius that wouldn't just like have a bunch of warehouses. I don't know. I don't know what sign would just have a bunch of warehouses and be a warehouse retail magnet, but I feel like that's very Aquarius of somebody to have a bunch of things, but not actually keep them with them.
Even to expand on that with the Aquarius, Venus, and Saturn, Amazon has also given several other business, people, an opportunity to sell their products as well to make, profits. So there is kind of like, to me, I've always seen, Saturnians. I think I made a joke on Twitter once about how Saturnians are like the ultimate people pleasers, but nobody like sees that. And I think a lot of people were like, yeah, I just do it to shut people up, but it's like, that's in truth, that is Saturn, or even Capricorn. It's not solely for one person. It's for a group. It's for, a community. So I feel like that kind of checks out as well.
I love that.
One
And with
thing,
this Mercury retrograde, I was going to ask you guys both, like, how do you think Mercury retrograde shows up in people for as far as like business prowess, like in Capricorn especially?
Oh,
well, I think as Mercury is probably getting ready to station direct. I can't be sure, but it is 16 degrees away from the sun, and when it's retrograde, it's usually, I think it's probably about ready to station. So that I think would give his Mercury a boost. Um, you know, Also, I mean, the first thing that jumped out to me is like Jeff is old enough now. He's born in 1964 that if I was reading his chart, I would turn the chart and make the sun the ascendant and read it as derived houses from the sun, which puts Jupiter in the third, right, ruled by Mars, which is emerging from under the sun's beams. So, it's like he is, third house stuff, which is like communication and connecting like groups and networks and localities, right? Like, so it's basically, if you think about it, like Amazon has expanded like the local market into be something global, right? And so Jupiter, third from the sun, ruled by Mars, I think speaks to that aggressive expansion of taking things from being like a local bookshop running out of his garage to this global kind of empire. Um, that would just be my 2 cents on this, but I think his Mercury is actually probably pretty strong given that it's at Phasis, right? Because it's 15 degrees away from the sun, so it's making its emergence from the beams. Like this is, Mercury would be visible as a morning star, and if we assume he's a day chart, I think it's a very strong Mercury for him, even though it's technically retrograde. I think it's probably close enough to be considered stationing.
I find a lot of the time that people who do have Mercury retrograde, they actually are very proficient. I'm pretty good with pop references. So the person that just came to my mind, Madonna, she has Mercury in Virgo retrograde. I mean, obviously, didn't stop her from becoming super successful. So I know, in astrology, or just in the community, there is this fear about, oh, retrograde, but it really is a more refined, energy to work with. That's just my honest opinion. And I think Mercury and Earth already is kind of super grounded. And kind of like what Alex was saying too, like Mercury being under the beams, when planets are that close to the sun, I think as you get older, you kind of have to find a way to repurpose them. It's almost like they cannot stay that the way that they are. The planet's energy cannot stay the way that it is from birth. When it's that close to the sun, it's like, the sun's like, something
Yeah.
has to change. Like there's a message that needs to be given here. So I definitely think that speaks to, his Mercury, like you said, Alex, being really, really strong, from what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree because like, we don't have his progressions pulled up, but I mean his, his Mercury won't is not retrograde forever, right? And in the progress chart, it's definitely going to be direct by this point. I'd also say that like, Mercury retrograde can often be people that are good at, you know, debugging, right? And solving, fuck ups, right? Like they're good at, uh, basically making it breaking things down and figuring out what the problem is and coming up with solutions, right? I know several Mercury retrograde people that, they're good at, decoding and finding out, like troubleshooting, basically, right? Which is something you definitely need, a skill you need to have if you're running a global business, because there's going to be kinks in the supply chain and all kinds of other stuff that you're going to have to work out.
I love that perspective because we don't really talk about, you know, people's weaknesses in these spots, but they can always be strengths. Not everything has to be stereotypically or inherently bad just because it's retrograde or just because in your chart it's not what people would prefer. But there's gifts in everything, which is why I wanted to point out that even if you have retrogrades in your chart, that doesn't mean that you're just going to be stuck doing absolutely nothing your whole life, because nothing will pick off the ground. You have your unique talents.
One thing that Jamal, you mentioned in your articles, you mentioned the prominent Neptune, right? And you said that this was, that there's like some mystical aspects with this. Did you wanna talk about that a little bit?
Oh yes, yes. So Neptune, which we love Neptune, right? Because it's always like a thing about, is Neptune benefic or is Neptune malefic? We don't really know, right? Because the truth is up for debate. But yeah, I found that Neptune, especially with like his Venus and his Saturn both kind of square that, right? Which is interesting,
Mm,
because Venus, Neptune, they're like the ultimate creatives, honestly, and the best case scenario. Best case scenario, it's like unbridled creative expression, or the ability to kind of blend, what's transcendent, what's kind of unseen with something that's, you know, I would say available for many, because that's kind of Venus's thing. Venus likes to bring things together for many. That's why parties are so Venusian, Jupiter, kind of thing, right? So even with Saturn and Neptune as well, Saturn and Neptune, it's kind of an interesting mix also, because it's like the ability to be, structured, ordered, disciplined, kind of again blending with Neptune, which again that seems like such an odd combination of the two. So I found that his Neptune to me was pretty prominent, especially in the sign of Scorpio too. That's an interesting place for Neptune to be, because again it's kind of like, even when you think about the story of like Amazon, or just like his success, there's information out there, but it's not really like a step by step like you would expect with, let's say, a Capricorn Mars. It's a step by step, brick by brick, slow, kind of steady building process, right? We don't really know that though about him, and I think that kind of stood out to me as well.
yeah, another thing that made me think, have you guys seen this thing where he has like built this giant thing in the middle of the desert? It's like a clock or something. It's like uh
Yeah, it's like this. It's
I-
supposedly going to last for all of time.
yeah, this thing here inside the mountain where Jeff Bezos is building a clock that will last longer than us. All right.
What a
A
headline.
10,000-year clock. All right. I don't know. This seems like kind of weird and occult thing to do. The clock is synchronized with the sun every noon. It keeps track of the year, century, and millennium. I mean, is he trying to make like a modern Stonehenge or something like this? Like, I don't know. It's yeah, and it also has a chime generator that will create 3.5 million unique bell chime sequences, ensuring that no 2 days will sound the same.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, that's that's pretty trippy, I think.
This is what happens when you have too much money.
That honestly kind of sounds like his Jupiter in conjunct Neptune.
Mm,
Oh, yeah.
I do love that.
It's like trying to bridge like that ideal Jupiter, right? Or something that's going to be historic with again a Neptune kind of concept of what is time, what's a lifespan. Yeah, that's an in conjunct for you. It's kind of like an odd mix. And I think too, the interesting thing about like with everything, Jupiter and Aries, it's weird too, because that is like a very powerful placement I've noticed. Even though in astrology it's not traditionally considered the best Jupiter placement, but Jupiter and Aries, it is a pretty show-stopping Jupiter, right? But the aspects that he has with it, it's kind of off in its own corner. Even if that we take the 12th house, that would kind of speak to Jupiter in the 12th. It's kind of behind the scenes, like you're like a monster in business, a monster salesperson. But that doesn't really come out to the fore, like unless you have Jupiter in the first. You don't really see it so well. And it's like Jupiter in the 12th could be like divine protection. So it's like many other people who scale business this big, they have problems, especially scandals, but not him. It doesn't seem.
Yeah, I think that's where
Yeah.
we would find Amazon's chart for just kind of seeing the tone of their business and how like those two would play into each other. Because Amazon itself is no stranger to scandal. There's a lot of The fact that they have a 6th house Saturn was probably my favorite thing about that first sale chart, because I'm like, well, the employees are going to definitely radically change some things in
Can
that
we pull
day-to-day
it up?
life. Yeah, I think Alex has that first sale chart for Amazon too. Um, because it was just interesting that, that was all recorded in time. I love that
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
that.
I've got the sale chart here. Pull it up. Here we go.
And that Cancer stellium was on his north node at the time.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
that's right, because he's got his north node at 11 degrees Cancer. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Sun, Venus, Mercury sounds like a salesperson, you know, to me, especially in Cancer. It just sounds like a salesperson.
Yeah, he
And
has
It's
then,
some.
also got It's also got Saturn stationing direct and conjunct the moon in the 6th house, which is like, this is like a work that is built to last, right? That's what I think, because it's like culminating sun, the Saturn stationing direct in the 6th, and it's ruled by Jupiter here, down here in domiciled, even though it's retrograde. I mean, Jupiter is going to be stationing direct pretty soon once the sun goes into Leo. So, or no, it's stationing retrograde, isn't it? Well, anyway, Saturn is stationing, so it's going to be strong. It might it might have this actually, since it's stationing retrograde, might speak to the fact that it took Amazon a while to get going. Um, it's that's interesting. It's also opposite Mars,
I was going to ask you
right?
about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's like that could be, I mean, in a natal chart, that often brings like difficult experiences and like an uphill battle. So, I mean, for a long time people were dismissive of Amazon, right? Until it became a big thing, because it wasn't one of the early things that took off in the dot-com boom. Like eBay was much bigger sooner than
Right.
Amazon. Maybe this is like the late bloomer,
I,
thing.
I was gonna say, it's funny that you mentioned eBay because Saturn in the sixth, especially, is like, you know, it's known for usually you defeat your enemies one way or another. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Like you will usually come up, you know, victorious against people who, you know, openly oppose you when you have Saturn there. So yeah, I think that does speak to the fact that there's several other competitors. I can't even remember them all, but from that time period when Amazon started, that are no longer around or not having the same kind of longevity.
I like that too, because with the moon and Saturn being opposite of Chiron and Mars, there's so much of that we can make a better place through the struggle kind of energy. Oppositions for me, especially in business charts, are a place for growth and a place for opportunity to expand. And really, Amazon and Jeff Bezos are capable of, radicalizing and revolutionizing the world. Private enterprise could have easily taken over, solved so many crises. And I know that there's like a lot of focus on that. I know Amazon does do a lot of things with the communities they work in and live in. I am currently living around like a couple Amazon warehouses. And so I've met people that have worked there, and it's been a real big struggle just because of like being pushed so much. So I feel like that Saturn and moon maybe taking advantage of people's
Yeah.
health and working conditions for sure.
Yeah, it could be like because if this we think about the traditional signification of the 6th house as being servants, right? And employees, then this could be like exploitation, right? With Saturn there, especially when it's stationing retrograde, because then that's going to, you know, pervert Saturn's normal thing of like, karma and structure and boundaries and all of that. And it's going to make it can also Saturn's an immutable sign, right? So maybe it's like, okay, I'm gonna make the rules and I'm gonna change the rules as I see fit, right? Kind of thing, right? I don't know. I also opposing Mars, but also there's like, I mean, Pluto here is in the 2nd house. He makes a lot of money, right? And
Yeah.
Pluto's, yeah. So I don't know, but with anything, there's good and bad things, right? I mean, I think all of us use Amazon, right? We can't deny the utility of the service, right? Um, you know, it's like there's, just like any person, there's nobody that's entirely good or entirely bad, right?
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
always a
and
mix.
having moon ruled Midhaven too is just so you're gonna have ups and downs. You're probably gonna it's gonna change, and especially if it's ruled by a moon that's in the sixth house, and in a sixth house that's ruled by that Jupiter. It's like a mental thing too. They can expand people, they can help people, and they can really make the world a better place. And that's what I really love about this chart is that there's so many possibilities because you can easily take this as your health or your perception of your health is your own worst enemy with that sixth house 12th house axis if it was a person. But you look at it as a company and it's like if they take some of these, absorbent or like ridiculous amounts of funds that they have and actually give back to the average worker, that sets the tone for a lot of companies all around the world. Because let's face it, labor is still not a safe place to be in, and manufacturing is still not an easy place to be in. So getting these things at a cheaper price, we know what that comes with. Oh, good, Jamal's back with us.
Oh,
There we
did he
go.
drop out?
But yeah,
Okay.
it's really cool to see this chart.
Yeah. So, if you guys liked this little discussion of Amazon's chart, you should definitely check out Gracie's Northern Magazine and read Jamal's article. I had the opportunity to read it earlier. I thought it was great. So, if you want
Thank
to know more
you.
about Jeff Bezos and Amazon, definitely check out Gracie's Northern Magazine and Jamal's article on there. I think. Do you guys want to go and try and start get onto the callers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, do we have I think Jess was gonna come on. Do we have
Yes,
her?
she is. She's gonna jump in real quick.
Yeah, let's
I know
have
that,
her.
like, on Twitter, I don't know how to respond through the Restream app to Twitter to let people know how to put their charts in, but if you're watching this, you can always DM us your charts.
Yeah, I'm trying to find her right now, to tell her to join.
Perfect. I sent her a message and the link, so we should be able to smooth that out.
I just sent her a message, said, "Join now, please."
Perfect. Look at us handling things live. No big deal.
I see there's several people that are posting their charts in the
She's
chat.
here.
I would love to get to you guys, but I think we've got some people that had expressed interest before, so we'll try and get to you. Hi, Jess.
Hey everyone, how are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Can't
Great.
complain. I am in the middle of eating an Oreo, so I'm sorry if there's things all over my teeth, but I will be finishing this.
Welcome to cancer season, ladies and gentlemen. We are having snacks and not apologizing for it.
Yeah, and I am drinking a beer, and I've got a little bit of wine that I'm going to get into later. I know
Oh
I said
my
I was going to do
gosh.
shots, but I've decided that I don't hate myself enough to do shots on stream. So I'm going to be drinking wine, which is still pretty dangerous. Yeah, so hey, it was your birthday recently, wasn't it, Jess? Happy solar return.
Thank you, June 16th. Yours too, Alex, right?
Yes, yes, I'm May 29th.
Happy belated.
Yeah, happy belated.
Did you want us to pull up your chart and talk about it?
I think we
Yeah,
were going to
you.
look at some charts. Yeah.
Or you want to join and read the charts too? Okay,
Yeah.
that's
If we
fine.
get
Either way.
4
All right.
astrologers looking at a chart at once,
Yeah.
like you are
Correct.
This
getting
is a
so
great
much
channel.
healing right
Right.
now.
All right. Well, then I will start inviting some of the people that expressed interest in calling in. I'll send a link.
Yeah, we have a ton of charts in the chat too. YouTube is blowing up with people sending in their charts. So whatever you want to look at first.
Yeah, I there was some people that were gonna call in, and so we could talk to
Perfect.
them while we do it. And so I'll just message this link to the people, and whoever joins first gets first come, first serve.
This is like
And then
Hunger
we'll try and
Games.
get to, yeah, then we'll try and get to some of the chat charts if we have time.
Perfect.
But these were people that had expressed interest in, joining the show so we can they can respond to our reads, which I think would be
Right.
fun, right? Uh, instead of just people posting in the chat. So, but other people in the chat, if we have time, we will get to you. So yeah, another thing that I just wanted to comment on is that I'm grateful for all you guys coming on and doing this thing. I think it's fun to do it collaboratively, and for people to get a diversity of perspectives. I think that's really cool. So yeah, thanks for coming on, everyone. Oh, we've got some people in the line. All right, we're gonna go with Sam first.
Hi.
Hey, Sam.
Hello.
Hey,
How are
y'all.
you?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. So yeah, Sam had messaged about getting her chart read on stream. So let's I'm gonna start sharing the screen again, and we will plug in your information.
Amazing. This is so fun.
All right.
So glad you're joining
Okay, I
us.
gotta go to
Oh,
Solar
thanks for having
Fire.
me.
Okay, so Sam, what's your birthday, Sam?
February 3rd, 1988.
What time?
4:05 p.m., so 16:05.
And the location.
Fairview Park, Ohio. Or Cleveland, if that doesn't come up.
It looks like Solar Fire found it.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Does this look right?
Guess me.
All right, great. Yeah, okay. Cancer rising.
Yes.
Interesting.
Shout out to Cancer Risings.
Shout out Cancer Rising.
Being
I
ruled by
find
the
that
moon is something that I just don't really know how to describe. My boyfriend recently told me I'm like a combination lock that changes combination codes every 13 and a half minutes. And I'm like, that's eerily very accurate for us.
That's
And to
such
have
a
a
good
moon in
description.
Leo in the second house. I love this so much for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, so because it's Cancer rising, and not only she's got grand fire trine, right? Actually, kind of if we include Saturn, it's both malefics, Jupiter, and the moon, while she's ruled by Cancer. So I don't know. This is like a lot of explosive energy, right? But maybe prone to burnout or prone to overextending yourself.
Oh,
I
yeah,
see
it's
that a
0
lot
or
with fire
100.
trines. Yeah, it's all or nothing, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Like
I
I'm
love
horizontal
that.
or I'm doing everything.
I love seeing the moon in Leo because I feel like it's the pop astrology perspective of Leo is just not on the mark necessarily. Moon and Leo people are the people who would like give you the shirt off their back. They would like even go up to strangers and like hype them up and share so much kindness and so much warmth. And I just feel like that's not something that is acknowledged in quite the ways that I would like to see personally. And so seeing that as your chart ruler, I'm immediately like, oh, that's really nice to have going for you. Plus with the trine, obviously a grand fire trine, but the trine to Jupiter in Aries is such like a buoyant and fun signature as well. And it just feels like you are the type of person who like will get things done, but also with a smile on your face. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's giving like
I
greatest
totally-
showman energy. Just
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with that moon and Leo thing. But I mean, obviously, I'm a Leo moon too.
out.
So I appreciate the Leo moon pep talk.
and you guys
It's
have
cool.
great hair. Like, hello. This is amazing. The
They do.
manes are
The
luscious.
mane. The literal
You
mane.
shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Yeah, but anyone feel free to jump in. I
really
don't want to
like
hog
the-
the thing.
The Venus North Node in Pisces up there. It's pretty prolific. Because I find that people with Venus North Node, they're, like I said before, many times I'll say it again, they're usually socially prominent people in one way or another. They lead a very, I would say, different kind of love life than what the average person. Whether it's you date a foreigner or you marry a foreigner or you move out of the country and you find the love of your life. You're on vacation, you meet someone that you really like, or there's like this dynamic quality those planets in the North Node. So I really liked seeing that, and especially like the trine to your ascendant from for both of those as well. So it just seems very protective to me. So I really like that as well. And then the Mercury retrograde too, which we were just talking about. Unique perspective when it comes to Mercury retrograde. And then I feel like it's almost like an internalized, like a fact checker, especially in Aquarius. It's like, before I say this, let me think. Should I really say that? Is that really right? You know, so I really, really like that too.
That's what I do for
Yeah.
a living too. I mean, I am a speechwriter. Like I
Oh,
Oh, that's so cool.
work on what other people say.
Right, so she's proofreading other people's mistakes.
Yes.
Brilliant catch,
and
Jamal.
the eighth
From
house.
journalism school to speechwriting.
So
That's so
the other
cool.
thing I was gonna say about this Venus is that like it's also square Mars, right? So this could be like some friction with like getting what you want, right? Because Mars is in the 5th, Venus is in the 9th. So it's like, you know, like a case of like frustrated things, like what maybe like you think something's gonna be really cool and really fun and pleasurable. And then when you actually do it, it's like, oh, maybe this is not as great as I thought it was going to be. I don't know. I find that a lot with Venus
Expectation
square Mars people.
mismatch.
Yeah.
Totally. I feel like it's expectation meets like the tendency for perfectionism.
You're also very like low key psychic. There's very not really low key at all. You know, you're ruled by the moon, but you know, with that North Node, we have that same degree of North Node, and it's represented by a materializing medium giving a séance. And so part of like your ninth house journey is embracing that spirituality part, and it's kind of rewriting what religion and what spirituality and belief systems mean for you. Whether that's writing out your own or you know, making sure that you separate yourself from what you grew up with or whatever it is there's definitely some sort of like religious revolution for you.
That hits me deep. My mom has that gift and always raised us like in a very different way from where we grew up. She was kind of a pioneer like that, and I think that shaped a lot of how I view the world and how I take it in and how I think about
Yeah.
things. She was just so brave in that way.
To build off of that, the signature I like to use for psychic stuff and people that are very in tune spiritually is like I look at Uranus and Neptune in particular, and both of those planets are changing signs, right? And then, you know, I also look for either the moon, Mercury, or the sun to aspect them closely. And you've got Mercury here making a very close sextile to Uranus and Neptune. So I don't know. And it's on this half of the chart. It's on the outgoing side of the chart. So I would expect you're a pretty intuitive person and like a good judge of like if someone has you know, is trying to deceive you or has like you know, bad intentions, I would expect that you would be able to root that out.
Oh, you'll laugh. And one of the first reviews I got when I was early in my career was, this was one of the nicer things. I'm not bragging. I want to validate you, was you have the best gut I've ever seen, and you can't teach that.
What a compliment. Wow.
That's a compliment.
Wow.
That was a great boss.
I have a question for you, Sam. What is your relationship with, this is kind of echoing what Alex said about maybe burnout. I noticed that your moon is in the terms and decan of Mars, which is ruled by your Mars in Sagittarius. So this is very much giving like, let's go after it, like ready to start something up. But then I'm curious if you're able to tap into that grand trine and really see the follow through, or if it's more based on like the vibe of the situation, if you're kind of moving with the mood of the day.
It is so, like, I know I've really hit on something if I am able to follow through with it, because that energy gets shifted so quick to the next thing and the next thing and the new thing that excites me. Like classic ADHD almost, where I love to start a thing, but to finish is, then it was really hitting.
I hear you. I
If
totally.
I can get it done. Or under pressure. I love pressure. I'm like an adrenaline junkie. A
Yes.
deadline.
Yes, I relate to that because I also have Mars in a mutable sign, and I feel like Mars in a mutable sign, it's like when the situation changes, then that's when you're at your peak. It's like when you have to do something, then that's when it gets done. Like for me, I live by the deadline, right? Like if I didn't have deadlines, I would just sit around getting drunk all day, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And both sound great.
Pisces Mars is my favorite to get drunk with, by the way. So just throwing that out there. But that's the thing, though. Like you have all this energy of being ahead of your time, but also running to the very last moment. You know, all the anaretic placements. There's also, and I just love the degree of your moon because it's represented in Sabian symbols by a large camel crossing a vast and forbidding desert. And I'm not sure if camels are something that, you know, you resonate with, but the next symbol is the truth symbol of your moon, and it's after a heavy storm, a rainbow appears. So it's very much
Wow.
about having these emotional storms. And like the final degrees of Leo are some rocky degrees to, you know, exist in with your moon, and having kind of like the emotional grounding that you did and the support that you did with your mom. That's really, really cool to see, simply because I think like having your Mercury opposing that really gives you that grounding. Like Aquarius Mercuries to me are the bookworms and brainiacs. They understand every language, every nuance, everything that you throw at them, and they speak alien. So, you know, just really tapping into your uniqueness is so strong here, and such a strong message of your chart.
We are chameleons, and if anybody else has similar placements, I would recommend to them, like, communications is such a blessing of a field to enter for that, because you can use that to your strength even when you feel like you can't really like hone in on your identity. Sometimes that can be really powerful because you can write for a certain audience or write in someone else's voice. There are such good ways that you can channel that ability.
Yeah, I
wanted to
think that is your. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Jump
No,
in.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say I didn't know if we were like if I had one thing else I wanted to say. I like
Yeah.
the Sun Pluto dynamic that you have as well. Because Sun Pluto is very compelling, very intense. And the one thing that's super cool about Sun Pluto people, especially the harder aspects, is that it's almost like a peeling of an onion. Like you get older and it's like a little bit more of your power unlocks. And especially in Aquarius, it's interesting because it's almost kind of like your sense of identity or power. It's almost like there has to be a filter of like, well, how does this look or feel for other people before it comes back to you? And it's like as a result, you shine several times over. Almost kind of like your identity or your voice is like not necessarily just for you. And that kind of what brings the power to you, if that makes sense.
That's so beautiful. You all are so gifted.
Yeah, I like that. That's really cool.
That is,
Um,
wow.
yeah, that's I think that's great.
To know it gets
Yeah,
better with
because
age is kind
Pluto,
of a
yeah,
gift.
Pluto is, you know, a challenging placement, you know, especially when it makes hard aspects to like personal planets like, you know, the sun or Mercury or the moon. And you know, but there's also like where there's that tension, there's also the juice, right? And like if you can harness it, it's like it like to me, I think of Pluto as like, have you ever been in a bar where they've got like the bowl, right? And like you're kind of you're trying to ride like the bucking bull, right? And then it's like the key to that is to like know when to jump off. Like you got to jump off before you get thrown off, basically. And once Pluto throws you off a few times, then you kind of get the feel for it, right? So and then you can kind of harness that chaotic energy and, you know, use it for something that you want. You know, Pluto's challenging, but also, you know, there's a lot of power there as well.
Yeah, if you can get in flow, kind of.
Yes, exactly. And I also like your moon opposition with Mercury because like as someone that's like you said you're a speechwriter, like it's like you are saying the words for someone else, right? It's like uh you know what I mean? Like you're not the one directly talking, and so it's like because a lot of times you know, Mercury opposite moon, it can be like people that are like spoken over, right? Like people don't like what they are saying doesn't relate because like because of that moon opposition. And so sometimes you have to find a different medium to express yourself, whether it's through writing or something else. So I think it's funny that you have used this to basically write things for others, right? So it's like, even though you might not be the well received, if you're the one saying it, if you write it and someone else says it, then it's great,
That's
right?
exactly it. Yes.
It's also such a passionate creative outlet as well for that moon to put words to the sensations that you're experiencing or trying to encapsulate some sort of story into language. I think that that is a gorgeous outlet to have at your disposal. I'm also kind of interested in whole sign. Your sun is in the 8th house. Obviously, your Mercury is there as well. Do you resonate more with the 7th house notion of like very interpersonal, collaborative, or a little bit more in the direction of like the depth and intensity of still entanglements, but other pieces like the occult and beyond?
Okay, I guess it depends on which lens I'm looking through it, but when you say like I am an incredibly collaborative, incredibly social person. I like even in a work environment, I prefer to work in a team. I can't sit at my desk alone all day. I need to bounce things off of other people. But then when I need to take a break from that, it is like very, the classic like extrovert needs to take a break and recharge. But I could never function working alone.
I hear you. Okay, that makes sense. I've been just personally my own practice kind of doing the yes and with Placidus and whole sign. So I've been trying to ask clients like, what's the vibe? What do you really resonate with more? So it's interesting to hear a little bit of both.
That's a great approach
Yeah.
too, because it's not just one or the other. That you can look at them both and utilize them both for sure.
I mean, I think if I was looking at this, the thing that would tip me off to look at her as more of a 7th house sun is the fact that her sun is within 10 degrees of the descendant, right? And when a planet gets within 15 degrees of an angle, I mean, Michel Goncoulon, he called those are his sectors, right? And so basically 15 degrees before or after an angle, it's going to make that planet angular, right? So did you, someone else was wanting to jump in?
I was just affirming what you were saying, but sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I can't see you guys when I'm sharing my screen, so I don't know who's trying to talk.
Oh.
Oh, okay. I was going to say too, I know we were just talking about Saturn in the 6th for Amazon and Jeff Bezos, but it's interesting to see it again in Sagittarius too. Again, so again, it's like Saturn in the 6th. It's like it's hard to beat people. Like if people are trying to compete with you, I feel sorry for them because they're not going to stand a chance.
No, that 6th house Saturn, Jamal and I both have that natally, and it's almost like watching your opponents exhaust themselves trying to like compete with you and trying to emulate you. So if you have people, even AI, I feel like AI is a huge threat to speech writing and to people who actually like do things with their brains for a living. So it's like, go ahead.
Do you also feel this way? I always laugh if people are competing with me because I'm not competitive. Like it's just like I don't even care. Have
That's
fun.
Saturn.
I love that. Meanwhile, my 7th house Mars is like, you want to go? Let's go.
Okay, well, we do have a lot of charts to get to.
Yes,
so
thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you
all.
for coming on, Sam.
Thanks for making this possible.
Yeah. Looks like we've got some more people on. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's go to Steve here. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Steve.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? How's everybody?
We're doing great. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm at work. Snuck off to a corner somewhere, but I'm good.
I love that we're infiltrating workplaces now.
Well, yeah, I mean, all right, so let's just jump right into it. Let me start sharing again. Boom. Okay. All right. Steve, can you give me your chart details?
Okay, I'm born 18 June 1990 at 36 minutes past 8 p.m. and born in Pretoria, South Africa.
It's giving me options here. Victoria West, Northern Cape, or is that the
Pretoria.
one?
Yeah, Pretoria, Pretor.
Oh, Pretoria. Okay, I'm sorry.
All good.
Okay, now it found it. It found it now. Okay, boom, here we go. All right. Who wants to go first?
Well, congrats on having an exalted moon. I will just throw
Right?
that out there. How's your life? It must be great.
Yeah,
Don't
it,
forget
I
to
it,
love
it's
that you
somewhat good.
Yes, the Aries degree of a Taurus moon is always going to be a little bit kind of at war with yourself, that mental, especially in the third house. But you do have Vesta there. So it's kind of like your safe space. Your mind is kind of like a retreat where you can go and get away from everyone else. You know, you have a very active mind and a mind that is full of a lot of things that can expand you and expand your world a little bit. But I really want to talk about, being ruled by Saturn. You're not going to find that joy in everyday life like everyone else might. Things are going to take a lot to excite you, with that 12th house Saturn at 23 degrees Capricorn. But, having it in Capricorn, it's like your secret weapon. You have this magical, timeless energy that is a spiritual kind of like lighthouse. It is a place that it's going to take a little bit more rest mentally, especially after being around a bunch of people. If you're constantly around people all the time, you might take a little bit time to just be like, everyone leave me alone. With your 12th house north node, you've got some incredible electric tendencies there. You have a very big gift with your mind as well as with your spiritual gifts, so definitely something to explore. But having a 12th house Saturn is not for the faint of heart. So
It is.
definitely something that you have learned to manage, I'm sure. But with the retrograde, of course, having that, I'm sure Ali's going to expand more on that because she is, I feel like the Saturn return master almost. I feel like you've been doing so much with Saturn and Mars lately. I've been reading Alex's predictive stuff, so I'm going to let her jump in here.
I mean, yeah, with Saturn, so I mean, you have Saturn in a loose contra Anticia with Mercury, right? So there is like a secret tunnel between Mercury and Saturn here, which I really like. And this is like I feel like this would explain your interest in the occult or maybe in ideas and perspectives that are like obscure or lost or maybe someone that has unconventional ideas, right? Because Saturn's retrograde and it's got contra Anticia to Mercury within, I think, a pretty tight orb, 3 to 4 degree orb. So, this is going to give you like a kind of like, okay, well, I've heard what people say. I've heard the mainstream opinion, but I'm going to look in and see what the alternative thing is. So I would say this is the mark of someone that's like kind of seeks alternative ideas and alternative explanations, especially with Mercury here in the fourth, fifth by whole sign. It's like you might get a lot of pleasure from ideas that other people would find maybe unconventional or even objectionable. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on. A lot of the things you said do resonate. Especially Saturn has been quite a challenge. It's hard to get a moment to recollect and think about all of these ideas, but I feel like there's not enough time in a day, and have to resort to meditation. I've tried to get into lucid dreaming, but it's still hard because I have to live life, have to pay the bills, and playing out with those ideas. It's a bit of a challenge because the deeper I go, then they start to change their faces. It's kind of like a trip on itself. That's why I started looking into other languages to try figure out a better way of expressing some of these ideas. And I've had some success, but it's just another mountain. So, like, if I go the conventional way, there's some wisdom. If I go the alternative way, I kind of have to find a guide. But, like, that's also hard because how do you find someone to go in a direction that only you can see?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's definitely, yeah. And with
That's
Pluto on your MC there, like you kind of are the guide. And with 12th house Saturn, a lot of the times it's going to be a struggle, but you don't see how far you've come. It's a lot of remembering how far you've made it and knowing that you have all the time in the world. It might not seem like it, And yet with Saturn being in the 12th house, you have the ability to slow that down. And you have so many exalted and domicile placements. It's like, I looked at your chart immediately and I'm like, well, look at this guy's blessings. I don't need to tell you anything. You're having a great time. And that's just very much of the first approach. But you look at it and it's like Chiron opposite Saturn and Jupiter opposite Saturn. Like you still have all this like very intense grounded energy. But one thing I do want to say about 12th housers is that you do not have to meditate as much as people tell you to, because your life is a meditation and you're already meditating by just being awake and having to get through it. 12th housers have the ability to just be meditating by breathing or existing. Breath work, especially with the Aquarius rising, is going to be huge for helping free up your mind.
With the Jupiter conjunct Chiron, Alex, we might be on the same beat right now. But what came to mind when you said looking for a mentor, no. You are kind of here. It seems like there's some healing work that's going on internally in terms of proving to yourself that you're able to pave the path that you want of exploration and expansion. And this is echoed with the sun in the 5th house. This is North Node on the ascendant. And this is, again, Jupiter conjunct Chiron. I'm fascinated by your generation because the exalted Jupiter is everything to me forever. And then I'm always curious how it manifests with Chiron in the mix as well. And I think that, really being aware of the wisdom as it comes to you. And so it can be something where it's like you're going about your day and somebody just says something off the cuff and it kind of sticks with you. That's the message. It's not so much this singular mentor. It's how you are resonating, how you are connecting with the collective 12th house. It's how you are connecting with the broader picture, kind of based on the vibes that are manifesting. And that's easier said than done when you're ruled by Saturn and Saturn is in Capricorn, because both of those energies want the predictable, they want the concrete, they want and this is the path that you take. And that is really not the framework that seems to be most coherent or tangible. Definitely on the cerebral level, you have that going on. So like playing with different ideas, playing with different pathways, life philosophies, things like that, getting information and sort of like intel from those, again, that you are connecting with on a day-to-day basis. But it almost feels to me like one way to break free from the framework you may be working with right now and just take what resonates is trying to shift the narrative at this point away from, somebody will help me get to where I want to go, to what resources do I have right now on this journey? Or like what little nudges and winks from the universe am I getting daily that helps to inform this journey that I'm on? And maybe he's gone.
I like what you said, Jess, because I think this Jupiter opposite Saturn and Neptune in cadent houses, it's like a seeking for truth and then it falling away from you, because both of these planets are going away from the angles. So it's like you grasping it and then it's like sand going through your fingers, right? And it's like, maybe the thing to realize with this kind of cadent placement is like the sand going through your fingers can sometimes that is the message, right? It's like that sometimes these truths are elusive, right? And the fact that just recognizing that might end up being the truth. We haven't heard from Jamal yet, though. Jamal, do you have anything to say on this chart?
So when he was talking about Jupiter and Chiron, I immediately started looking or thinking about his 9th house, Libra, and how he has Mars kind of in the opposite house from that down there in the 3rd. So, immediately it just made me think, okay, well, it just made me think that, kind of like what you guys were all saying, as far as he has to be his own mentor or he has to take the initiative, kind of strike first. That made me think of Mars in the 3rd. Also, too, like his 9th house ruler, it's really well dignified with that, trine to Saturn also. And then even though his moon is not trine Saturn, immediately what I was going to ask is, like, have you ever thought about fasting or things like that? Because usually Venus, Saturn, for example, right, that's like a relationship difficulty or a financial hardship, which, we don't really want that. Yeah.
Wait, sorry, you said...
Yeah. I'm sorry.
You said, sorry, classing?
Fasting.
Fasting. Yeah, I've tried it. It's amazing.
Cool.
I tried 24 hours. I should be able to try a bit longer, but everything I ever heard about fasting, it's on point. I had COVID a few years back, and one of the things online people said to get back some some of your cognitive abilities is to try fasting. I did it. It was great. It was really, really great. But having a Taurus moon, I just looked at pictures of food the whole day, and I was, yeah, I ended my fast very quickly. But fasting, it is, yeah,
I
it's
was gonna
phenomenal.
And
say that had to have been so hard.
one other thing I was gonna say also, with you having an Aquarius node, right? There is this thing about kind of finding, I don't want to say new age techniques, but different or novel ways of solving an ordinary problem. That's like a Uranus thing, right? And you have your moon kind of connected to that Uranus. So you're someone who's kind of meant to kind of try different things, kind of be okay with, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to try this. No one's doing that. No one's tried this. So like that Aquarius signature is kind of like very loud. And your moon's kind of a little bit in conflict with that. So, there is kind of like this, like, exalted moon's like, I have everything I need here. Why would I want to innovate and try that, which is going to somehow disrupt or disturb, my peace of mind or my comfort, even if it could be potentially for my greatest good. So planets, when they're square the nodes like that, there's always like this, I kind of know I need to go this way, but I'm kind of okay staying where I am. It's kind of like you're in the middle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that
yeah. Well,
mental
you're actually right.
discipline to train your mind to not be hungry is showing just like how strong that moon is and how much you can transform yourself with that Pluto opposite moon.
Well, I also think that it would give you like an insight into other people because you got Moon and Venus kind of hugging the angles here. And I love when there's a planet on either side of an angle. And Moon and Venus on either side of the IC in Taurus, to me, that's like you can kind of understand differing perspectives, right? Even though you may be a very private person, right, and not want to reveal what you really feel or really think, you can kind of see what other people feel and think. And like, I would say that you're probably pretty good at being like a mediator or a peacemaker, right? Like, if there's two people that are fighting or arguing, like, you would be able to, like, be like, okay, guys, you're not really that different. Like, we can find some common ground here, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
true. That's true. Especially, it started to manifest itself during my Saturn return. Um, During Saturn return, I had um, Saturn square my moon, and we were under lockdown. I was with my family, so I had to help out my nephew with his school issues, and his financer, his aunt, was refusing for him to change some of his subjects, but he was failing. And, they had that kind of deadlock where he's not able to feel better about himself and actually try to perform academically. And then I had to just point out to her that, like, going forward in the future, he's not going to be able to get a good job or even get into university with bad grades. Let's just change a few classes so he can improve overall. And he did. He ended up being like one of the top students in his grade for the next 2 years. I also had to deal with like some other family issues where I had to mediate, but at the same time also had Mars return and it was retrograde. So I was quite
Oh
aggressive
yeah, I
with,
remember that Mars retrograde in
yeah,
Aries. It was brutal.
It
I was
was.
quite aggressive. I wasn't sleeping. I was quite addicted to coffee. Um, uh, Also was pretty much experimenting with like microdosing. So I had like a lot of insights, picked up on a lot of issues, but my approach to it or my communications was not really the best. I did end up going to therapy after that, just to figure out that I had some emotional issues. And then I found Reiki after all of that. And that was also just a whole another world of
Wow.
discoveries. Yeah.
That's so cool though, because it's not something that people just jump into going from, traditional sources of healing to even therapy. Therapy for people can be really scary. And then going to energetic therapy is all sorts of, questionable, and certain families, social circles. There we go. But like having the ability to just kind of like try new things and keep that mind open, that is such a 12th house Saturn and North Node gift for sure. Because a lot of people with Saturn ruling their 12th house might not have that openness that you do. And you have a lot of aspects that make that a little bit lighter. So it's cool that you went through those obstacles with such a focus on kind of like getting better through it all. So even facing things like that, even focusing on the positive outcome is really strong.
I just wanted to, before we move on to someone else, throw out one thing. I was wondering when you got COVID, because you mentioned getting COVID.
Yeah.
Was it like right around the time of the lockdowns? Because there was a Mars Saturn conjunction at like 0 degrees Aquarius, which would have been square your moon. And that, like, did you get COVID early?
No. I got it much like after the heavy lockdowns. I got it during it was Saturn's. It was during the Venus retrograde in Capricorn. I remember because I had gone on a frenzy of ending relationships.
Good for you.
I was
Venus Saturn.
Yeah, I did. I got really into digital art. Started doing some yoga. It was just like a crazy period. Drinking a lot, like just trying to purge, really.
Interesting.
That was definitely my Capricorn Saturn return, was being in different dive bars and then discovering cannabis and then staying home and no longer going to the dive bars. So it's just such a shift in my mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks for calling in and sharing your chart with us. We really appreciate it. Couldn't do this
Yes,
show
thank
without
you so
people like
much.
you.
Well, thank you very much for reading.
Unfortunately, we have quite a bit of demand, so we got to move on to someone else. I think there's other people on the stream waiting. So, but thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Also, shout out to the 14-degree Aquarius placements. Steve had his ascendant at 14 degrees, and our first caller had, I believe, their sun at 14 degrees in Aquarius as well.
We're attracting them.
We'll see if that is gonna pull in. We've got Obi here.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Hey.
Hi.
I'm good. How are you? Hey, Jamal.
How are you?
I'm good.
You guys know each other? Do we have a
Yes.
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 Cool.
Jamal is my astrologer for like everything. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
Perfect.
nice. Okay, well, Jamal's gonna have an
So
advantage
I'm
here, having
gonna
seen this
hold
chart
back,
before.
and I'm gonna let them have it.
Jamal's just gonna sit back and watch us.
No. I mean, if
Yes.
you've got stuff to say, then please, by all means. All right, all right, let's see. All right, here we go. Obi, I know you sent me your information before, but I can't see it because I
Yeah,
only have one monitor. I'm trying to get another monitor. What is your birth information?
Yeah. March 21st, 2003, 7:57 a.m. in White Plains, New York.
Okay, here we go. All right, I'll let some other people take the first thing. I need to take a quick bathroom break, and I will be right back.
Yes, we got this, Jess. Yeah, but like when we do get to see this chart, I'm excited because March 21st is right before my birthday. So
Yeah, I was gonna say he's
Love
in
that.
Aries as well, and he's a
Oh,
Capricorn
boy.
Mars too. Capricorn
oh
Mars.
boy,
Oh my
exalted sun, exalted Mars. Watch out.
I have such a soft spot for Jupiter in Leo. I think I just love Leo placements. That's what I'm learning as I get older. But you have Jupiter in Leo too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so good. Okay. I'm excited.
Jupiter and Leo must just be like waking up and just being like blessed by the sun every day. I don't know. I just feel like it's just be like, I'm gonna go outside and shine. And I know that I have like an exalted sun, but like I burn myself out because I don't know limits. So I don't know if that's something that happens to you, but it's very, very common in this household.
No, yeah, I do the same thing.
Aries people not know when to stop. That's crazy.
It
Stopping
feels
it
like
feels
that's the challenge for the fire suns, like not necessarily Leo as much, but like the other ones. It's definitely a challenge with like burnout for sure. Oh, I think we lost him
I tried to change
for a
the layout and
second.
it just didn't
Oh,
work. So my bad.
but yeah, like just like Jupiter with Sag, just kind of like not knowing like literally a limit, right? And then with Mars, it's literally like, it's like how much can I do? How much physical energy can I exert, to get what I want or get, the result that I'm desiring. So I definitely think with Aries suns, that exalted energy, it kind of sometimes lends to, I don't want to say overdoing it, but it can be like excessive. Not necessarily intentionally excessive, but like, in the long run, or when you look back, you're like, I didn't even really need to do all of that.
What?
yeah.
No. I love that. Yeah, it was just me till 4 o'clock this morning putting together the magazine that I had 3 months to complete, and I was like, you know what? Let's just wait. And I don't ever stay up past like 9, really. So it was just an experience. Like, oh, this is what it's like, and I was like wide awake. The nighttime was very comforting. I'm like, oh, this is lovely. This is what nighttime people are experiencing. I get it. It's so quiet. All right.
I'm back, everyone, and I just heard that last bit of what Gracie was saying. I love the nighttime, and I will like often. I think that I get better ideas when it's like 2 in the morning, and I'll often like just prep charts in the middle of the night just for that reason. Um, so yeah, try it out. I think it's
I
cool.
love that.
Has anyone mentioned his Mercury Cazimi in
I can't see
Aries?
the
I
chart,
can't see
so
anything.
You can't see anything?
no, we
What's
just have
wrong?
this like cool Inception screen where it's just our faces 100 times,
What the
which
fuck? All right,
I'm into,
why?
but
I mean, not that I'm mad at what I'm seeing either, but
right, like we all look great, so it's
All right,
fine.
sorry
right.
about that, guys.
Oh my god.
Let me see. It should work. Hang on.
No, it's okay
Let me
because like
try it
sharing the
again.
screen thing is
And then
definitely the reason that I was like,
me.
You guys should. I wish I'd noticed that before I left. I thought it was up there. All right.
hey, we're doing our best here.
Now, can you guys see it?
Yes,
Yes.
perfect.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
I
I
always think
like
of
it doing the
Kazemi
0
as like
degree Aries.
necessary conversation, if that makes any sense, or like a critical conversation. It's like, hey, we need to have this business meeting today and talk about this, this, and this. Especially in Aries, of all, it's at the beginning of Aries, so it's like, let's talk about getting some stuff done. Especially Mars and Capricorn, like we need to get some stuff done today, like right now. It
Yeah,
may
that
take us
22
6
degree
months,
Venus. Like you
right?
are the boss in every situation, and if you don't get things done, get the hell out of his way, because here we
Hmm.
go.
Yeah, and closely trying.
But like
These are
anytime that I
words that
see
I've
22
said
degrees is
before.
like this really, really cool energy that you can choose your grace, and especially with that 0 degree Aries, Mercury, and Sun. I call that this. I mean, it's not I call it. Other people call it the 0.2, and it's where we are reborn every year. And for that to be in your subconscious and an intercepted 12th house, it might feel like you are constantly like restarting a lot mentally, or you're like starting from a new place, or you're transforming yourself, or it's like this, I have to go away and isolate myself and come back a totally different personality, or else everyone will know that I'm also just trying to figure it out. But it's very like it's attached to the underworld a lot too. That 0 degrees is so much in 2 different realms at once. So your connection to other realms is very strong as well.
Yeah, I like that. I also like that Jupiter is getting ready to station direct, and it's in the fourth, approaching the angle, and we've got the sun here in the 12th. So I would see this as like maybe you make private things public, or like somehow you bring things that are ordinarily not spoken about into the light, right? Is there anything like that you do?
Yeah, for sure. I'm very transparent with the work that I do in the fashion industry, and that's something that no one really ever understands before I start talking about it, for sure.
I love that you're in the fashion industry with that Gemini 22-degree Saturn. It's like, also kill or be killed in that. You're like, I will have as many personalities and as many looks and as many designs as I want because that's your range. You don't have a limit. So keep showing everybody your range. Absolutely.
And widely conjunct Neptune as well. I love that dual signature. For me, that's just like the ways in which you are connecting with fashion and your creative ability is in a different like solar system, like totally unique, totally your own, and no one can ever take that from you. And it also feels like there's some compelling signature where your voice in this industry as well, or just in however you are communicating, is going to have like a lasting impact on the social circles you are running with. And I'm saying that from the North Node in your first house in Placidus, second house whole sign, but also, of course, your chart ruler in the 11th house. And there's usually like, I see this signature as like kind of a humanitarian energy as well. And I know that that's a wide conjunction, but I'm really taken by your Venus conjunct Neptune as well. It's also interesting to me, is creativity just core to your expression? Would you say?
Yes.
It's that Jupiter in Leo. It's Jupiter in Leo. And like when people are honoring that, it's like, yes, because it's not only that you are very creative and very gifted, it's also that you can get other people excited about what you are doing. And again, I think that I've just been on it with Leo for whatever reason, like very much appreciating the signature. But another component here is that not only are you super creative, you can get other people hyped up, but you can also like in being self-confident in what you create and being comfortable in like who you are and how you're showing up, you kind of unintentionally can boost up the people around you as well and inspire those around you too.
Yeah. So with this, I think that's great, Jess. I'm sorry to just
No,
go
go.
on, but I want to build off what you were saying because I also think with this moon on the angle, like you might right now be like a model, right? That's what I'm going to guess. But you also have what the ancient Greeks talked about for tailors, right? And people that fashion clothing because it's a Saturn, Mercury, or no, it's a Venus, Saturn, and Mars combination, right? And we have Venus trine Saturn, and we have Mars ruled by Saturn. So you have all three planets of those working together. So I wouldn't be surprised if you do your own clothing line or become a designer.
Your hands make you a
You were
ton of money.
laughing.
That's for sure.
I'm laughing because I'm a model right now. I'm a model, a photographer, and a stylist, and I do want to eventually one day start my own clothing line.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, I would say that that will happen probably when this Saturn here gets into the first house with progressions, right? When it goes out
I
of the
love
seventh
that.
house into the first
Yeah,
in your
because Pluto
progressions,
being
I
trying
think.
that North Node too. It's like
Mhm.
your life could change at any moment at this point.
Yeah, but that's really cool. Like you have this, it's like a textbook signature for someone that does tailoring and clothing, like Salvatore Ferragamo. He has a very similar signature in his chart. Lots of other, really famous fashion designers also have this same Saturn, Venus, Mars combination. And they're all in good houses, right? Like they're not in bad houses. I mean, the second house is pretty good. Like of the dark houses, the second house is probably the best one, right? Out of the 12th, 8th, 6th, and second, the second one's probably the best, right? So I think Saturn having in the second house might mean you make a lot of money from it too. So yeah, I don't view the second house as bad at all. You don't have any of these key placements in a dark house, so I don't know. I say go for it because I think you'd probably be successful.
And let's,
Absolutely.
yeah, 100%. Also, let's have a moment for the Taurus rising because, of course, beauty is going to be part of your persona.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
I'm gonna add one thing. So obviously Saturn, Pluto. It's another signature that kind of is like get out of your way. Like if you have a Saturn Pluto aspect, the sextile, the trine, it's like a steely determination that kind of propels you to the top. but it also invites like a lot of fanaticism, like a lot of fanfare, obsession, right? But it's like a lot of the big heavyweights, like in music, entertainment, they all have it. Like Taylor Swift has Saturn, Pluto. Rihanna has Saturn, Pluto. Beyonce has Saturn, Pluto. Like all of the big people, they usually have some Saturn, Pluto stuff going on in their chart. So especially to have it in the money houses, the second and the eighth, it's kind of like this back and forth, between kind of like having to earn your way with Saturn in the second, and then coming up against that Pluto in the eighth, where sometimes it's like people, their perceptions, their fears, their traumas may get in the way of them wanting to give you a job, or maybe people wanting to get behind your work, only to later on kind of be like, okay, well, now I see this person doing these things. Let me kind of jump on that. It's so Pluto in the eighth. Let me invest in this person. Let me, Pluto in the eighth is like someone could say, hey, I want to give you a contract to do this. And it changes your life a million times over because, eighth house is kind of like other people's money. So someone else gives you a
Yeah.
contract and it could change your life. Eighth house.
And to build off of that, we also have Pluto aspecting Venus pretty closely, and I have seen that a lot in like really, really wealthy people have Venus Pluto contacts. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's lots of potential here. I agree. I agree with Jamal. For sure.
Oh, and Gracie, there was one funny thing I saw like in his chart that too. So you saw like his Mars is in Capricorn like yours, and like his Saturn situation is different than yours. But I was literally joking with him how I was like, Mars is like, let's take this seriously in Capricorn. Like we have this business meeting, we need to show up at 9 o'clock on the dot. The meeting's at 10, but I'm going to be there at 9. And then Saturn and Gemini is like, oh, sorry, wrong date. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so like, because the weaker Saturn is, it's like the authority, the discipline, it's like it's not really there. It's there, but like there's no consequence, there's no, you were late, so you're not going to get this job. But Mars is like, I was here an hour ago, like where were you guys at, with the inconjunct. So it's like that adjustment of kind of like, do I take this seriously or do I not take this seriously? Are we showing up on time or are we coming late? I don't know which way we're going to go.
I love that so much. And it's such a signature because I'm either 20 minutes early or I completely forgot that I'm doing something that day. And people will call me and be like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm in my room. What's up? And they're just like, you're supposed to be here. And I was like, that's not today. So I completely relate to that. It's very real. And, taking things seriously is also Saturn dominant people's downfall. We have to joke. We have to laugh. That Saturn and the North Node, while it might not feel like it all the time, it is such comic relief and reminding you to laugh through these things too. Because looking back on it, it is usually pretty funny, way later on in time usually, but still, it's good to just keep things as lighthearted as possible. And, people might also not appreciate that side of you if you take things too lightheartedly. Be like, it's going to be fine. I've got this. Because, that Venus trying the Saturn is going to make you responsible. But yeah, there's always room for spontaneity for sure.
Well, I think though, because he's got Saturn and Mars roughly in contra Antisha, that like when it matters, he definitely takes it seriously. Like when he needs to, he can be incredibly like calculating, because that Mars and Saturn have like that secret tunnel with the contra Antisha. And so there's like this sympathy with his Mars and Saturn. And so it's like when the hard work needs to be done, he's not going to shy away from it, right? Even if that's not his preference to work hard because he's Taurus rising, right? When it has to be done, he shows up.
Yeah, absolutely. And Visions by Psyche made that point of the fallen moon ruled by the exalted Mars. Just because you do have that moon that can keep you a little bit in a place where not everything feels rosy all the time, you still have that exalted Mars ruling over it. So to give you that little like, you got this though, it's very much like your own life coach in the background.
That is the perfect way to describe Capricorn Mars. Yes.
Did
There is this
anyone else want to throw in on this? Oh yeah, Jess, go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly, with your Saturn ruled by Mercury in the 12th house conjunct the sun, obviously there's a Kazemi moment, so that's kind of nice. But I think that there is kind of this echo, especially before your Saturn return, to not get too in your own head or in your own way and think like, well, what if this isn't the right time? Or what if, like, try to avoid that. I think that if you don't already have a practice of meditation or like getting quiet, that can be really stabilizing, again, especially until about that Saturn return when we get into the energy with a little bit more comfort. But that is just something that stands out to me because the sun and Mercury obviously are very much diving headfirst into the unknown, very enthusiastic about it, and we love to see that. But Saturn and Gemini's story usually indicates that there is something on the cerebral level, on the intellectual level, where it's like either second guessing the self or holding the self back, or something that it's kind of causing a little bit of roadblocks along the way in terms of asserting yourself. And so I like to try to get ahead of Saturn. However, it is manifesting. Obviously, I think there are some things we can't avoid in preparation for our Saturn return, but definitely something to reflect on, especially as Saturn approaches Aries.
Yeah, Saturn conjunct my sun and Mercury is going to be so interesting. So interesting.
And Neptune's going to
Well,
be
I
getting
mean,
in
you
there
are
too.
having that. So yeah, there's the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that is taking place partile on this placement. So I don't know. I think that I think that could be like a big, like blowing up moment, right? Like you go from being like someone that's moderately well known to being someone that is very, very well known, right? Yeah, and that's in the spring of 2026. So
And Pluto
I don't
and Uranus
know.
will be in the mix as well.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, whenever
exactly.
the outer planets come to the personal planets, it's like you become like a face of like a generation in a weird, like, I mean, even if it is just for like a moment in time or whatever, it's like for that moment you're part of like, what is it called? The Zetas? Is that how you call it? Like the word?
The Zeitgeist?
Zeitgeist.
Yeah,
Zeitgeist.
sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And then,
even
and then
though it might
Uranus,
be just a moment, like that's more than 99.9% of the population gets. So it's like take that moment and really relish it because it'll be a moment in this time, but it's like a moment that just leads to more moments.
Definitely with Pluto also like it was like over my MC all last year and now it's in my 10th or about to be permanently in my 10th after like November, I think. So I've been like kind of feeling that energy too, like with just everything I'm doing slowly changing towards a more public facing route.
Yeah, because it's unavoidable for you. You're gonna be in the public spotlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it's also gonna contact I mean, it's also gonna go opposite your Jupiter eventually. It's gonna trine your lot of spirits. It's gonna sextile this stuff. Like it's gonna contact a lot of your early degree placements. So yeah, I I think I don't know. Definitely keep in touch and I think we will
Please.
we will be watching you because I'm expecting cool things from you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, for sure. I love this. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Jamal has the most
Um
interesting people, of course. We got this like
yeah.
no big deal, just a model that's going to be the face of. I'm going to be sitting at home one day and turn on TV, and be like, wait a second.
Okay, we do have one more person waiting to get their chart read, and I would like, unfortunately, we can't spend as much time on everyone as we would like, but Amelia looks like she is up next. Hey, are you there?
I am. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yay.
yes,
Yes, we
hi, how are you?
can.
Yes.
Good. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Great. Okay, here, let me get the screen back sharing and we'll pull up your chart. All right, now, guys, you gotta let me know if the chart doesn't show up. All right, you guys see solar
We're
fire?
good.
All
Yep.
right,
It's
cool.
just kind of
All right.
small. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, it will be small
Yeah, there it
until
goes.
I actually turn on the chart. What's your information?
Okay, so March 13th, 1981 at 7:54 a.m. in Gowanda, New York.
That sounds like a place
My
that has a
mom's
summer
birthday is
camp.
March 12th.
You're gonna need to spell that shit for me. Oh, it's March
I'm
12th.
sorry.
Did I put in
Um,
March 13th?
No, it is. It's March
No, I said
13th, 1981.
Okay.
Gowanda
sorry.
is spelled Gowanda. It's an Indian name. Gowanda.
Going
I
to New
like it.
York?
Yes.
All right.
Jamal,
Cool.
what were you saying?
I was saying my mom's birthday is March 12th.
Oh,
nice.
that's awesome.
Ooh, Pisces.
Okay.
Ooh,
All
a
right.
lot of
Here we
Pisces.
go.
Pisces Mars, Alex.
Yeah.
Let's hear the
Our
dissertation.
Mars is almost in the exact same spot. I have 28 degrees Pisces Mars. That's
Oh, wow.
cute.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, and but it's square your moon. That is a little. That's a little uncomfortable. So it's in the 12th
Oh my
and
god,
the
the South Node
3rd.
in Aquarius. We keep coming up
Have
with more
you?
Aquarius.
Do people slander you? Do people spread rumors about you?
Oh my god. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
The story I could tell. Yes. Very, very big issue in the last couple years, especially.
Yeah, with Saturn coming up, it's not going to be easy for them, though. The more people talk about you, the more things blow back on them. So that is one thing that you do have protection with.
Yay.
So they can say these things, but they need to watch themselves. The 22-degree
also-
sun, especially in the 12th house, that can be a very spiritual placement due to force. You've been forced to find spirituality through extenuating life circumstances, or you have this natural glow about you that is very much this mystic person behind a curtain, or you live this very interesting life that people can't exactly figure out. But then again, you could be very vocal just because that 8 degree of Pisces is represented in the Sabian symbols by a girl blowing a bugle. So it's very much like whistleblowing kind of energy.
Oh God. Yeah.
I'll stop there then, please.
No, I say oh God because that's exactly what has happened to me in the last couple of years. Is I was a whistleblower for domestic violence, and kind of
Wow.
and lost my whole career because of it.
Oh wow.
And I was a surgeon for a very long time and had to leave that career because I reported my husband for domestic violence. And the other thing that I was gonna ask you about, what you mentioned, I kind of, after that all happened to me in 2021, all these psychics abilities started to show up that I was really like, when you said it was like forced upon you, it's kind of like I'm comfortable with the idea of it, but it really like kind of blew up and was intense. It still is pretty intense, actually.
Right. So. First of all, I just want to say thank you for standing up for your truth and standing up for your safety and standing up for everybody else that can't do the same. Being a domestic violence advocate is not for the faint of heart, and somebody that can actually help others get out of those situations by simply being themselves and speaking what happened to them as their truth. So that's the first thing I want to say. And you don't have, the easiest plight in life when you have so much 12th house, but there's a gift in that because you're not like everyone else. And these things that are going to come to you, especially with that Pluto on your descendant, I feel like you're meant to be very much somebody that helps others transform themselves and know that they can take back their boundaries, their body, and feel safe within their body, almost like a justification for the pain that you go through physically in that 6th house. So that's definitely very powerful.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, yeah, so with the surgeon thing, you see a lot of people that work in the healthcare field having 12th house and 6th house placements, but also like the traditional signification for doctors and surgeons in particular is combination of Mars, Mercury, and Jupiter, right? And we have Jupiter making contact with both trining by whole sign Mercury and conjunct the ruler of Mercury. And then we have Jupiter also ruling Mars, right? So again, we are hitting another chart with where I guess these ancient Greeks were onto something, weren't they?
They knew some shit.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. Also, what drew me here is the square with all this 12th house stuff is square Neptune, right? So it's kind of like, did you feel like maybe drained, or maybe like you believed in what you were doing, but it was like taxing for you, right? Like it like kind of sapped your vitality.
Yeah, that's interesting because before everything kind of blew up and I finally, filed and was trying to leave my ex-husband, who's also a surgeon, I kept having these moments that I would get done in the OR and I would hear this little voice of like, this isn't enough anymore. Like this is not enough. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, you have got to be shitting me. Like I just spent like 20 years getting to this place and it was drained, and it was also like I'm not in the right place. This isn't enough. Like you're meant to do something else. And I would push it away and I would ignore it. It only happened a handful of times before my life, like everything exploded. But yeah, it took too much out of me, I think. And I didn't, but I also was like never going to stop on my own because I loved it.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, in terms of like where to go next, then maybe that might be an interesting discussion.
Yeah,
Does anyone have any
do you have
thoughts on
some?
like, yeah, what other talent she may have?
Yeah, that's kind of why I called or wanted to call in.
I was gonna say I really like the fact that you're second house ruler. Well, I guess technically it would be third for Gemini instead, but in this chart it looks like it's Gemini in the second, and that's Mercury all the way up there, which is really really nice. Because usually the second and the 11th house, when they're connected in any way, it just gives wealth pretty much. If not through friends, through your ability to network, or it's kind of like you have a talent, a service that services a wide community of people. And it's kind of like as long as there are people that are in need, then you'll kind of always be in business with that kind of placement. And then to have the moon and Mercury kind of trine, because the moon rules your fourth, it's also in the trine with that 11th. It's kind of nice because like I don't want to say you could work from home, but it's almost like there's like a network of people like that may not always be seen that also are kind of like supporting you as well. So I really like the grand trine, and then even Pluto in the seventh house. Like I know some people are kind of like eerie about Pluto in the seventh house, but sometimes Pluto in the seventh house can be that people bring out the best in you. It can be that people bring out the worst as well, but Pluto in the seventh is like you meet people and it's like they really see something in you that you kind of feel is there, but you don't really have people acknowledge it. And the next thing you know, you're going after something, that you didn't, otherwise have the confidence to prior to this interaction, this relationship. It could be a mentor because Jupiter and Saturn are kind of there too. And so, Jupiter, Saturn, it's like are always kind of going for more when you meet people who kind of embody that Jupiterian energy. Your leaders, your guides, Jupiter, and Saturn together. It's like, okay, well, I can make this business idea now that I've talked to this person. And with Pluto, it's like a dynamite effect. So it's really, really nice for you to have like the stellium. And your Venus is exalted, so it's ruling over all of that. So it's just like, it's very, very nice.
Awesome. That's good. I'm glad to hear
So
positive stuff.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think that you would have a natural talent for writing with Mercury trying the moon, and Mercury is also ruling over the moon, and then it's ruled by the Saturn Jupiter conjunction in the sixth. Jupiter also rules the ninth house of publishing. Mercury rules the third house of writing. I think maybe a book, right? Maybe a
Yeah,
book
yeah.
about your life as a surgeon or your experience. I think you would be very effective at communicating your experience that a lot of people could relate to. Have you ever thought about writing a book?
Yeah, it's actually come up a lot. The details of what happened to me are so unbelievable and almost like fantastical in the way that I tried to fight back and like lost everything, and kind of just that I'm okay still is kind of a miracle, because to be a female surgeon is so challenging, and then to have it taken away from you, most women in my position would not have psychologically or physically survived that.
I was gonna ask, just because of your your Gemini moon and the need for your hands to stay busy in order for
Oh
your
my
emotions
God,
to
it's
regulate.
so
Like,
it's
I
so
feel you.
hard.
And
Yeah.
with the kind of banishment houses with the 12th house, you know, those can be houses of people that are just exiled, and you just feel like it's such a terrible thing that happens. But with your north node in the 5th house at the 10th degree of Leo, I'm looking at that as like almost like working with children, or just like that heartfelt childlike joy, especially with that Vesta in the 5th house as well. And your part of fortune in the 4th house at that 3 degree of Leo, that's the degree of a woman with her hair, a woman like trying to look more mature, gets her hair cut shorter. So I don't know if like cutting your hair is something that you do whenever you're like trying to shift or trying to make a change or trying to make a statement like, I'm different now, so my hair's gone. I didn't know what your connection to your hair was, but there's definitely something with that there.
That's funny. Well, people definitely know me by my hair, but
Okay.
my hair has gotten a lot lighter as I've gotten older. Like I'm almost blonde like I was as a baby
Oh,
now.
wow.
And so people always comment on my hair. It's very long and it's very curly. And so they tend to comment on it. But what you said also about childlike, the thing that has also I found a lot of joy growth in is motherhood in since everything happened. And I think that North Node has really sustained me through the banishment and the kind of loss of my identity in this way. It has been a huge kind of like a self-discovery mechanism in addition to joy. Like I've just experienced such joy and healing through my two daughters. Like it's been actually really fun.
That's
Um,
amazing.
thank God for them. uh,
Yes.
but yeah, I definitely need ideas on like, so the writing thing is one thing that sticks because I feel like communication is a part of my future. Like I have had a couple dreams where I'm standing in a room of people and I'm speaking almost as if I'm translating or analyzing a problem and they're listening to help me solve it. Like they're listening to me because I'm able to translate information for them or convey something that leads to a problem being solved. I know
Wow.
that's very vague, but
Yeah.
Two things stood
is
out to me. And I was kind of sitting on it a little bit because Neptune is throwing me off a touch. But I saw a mentor, and I'm seeing this in the space of you could tutor or like help people prep for the MCAT or people who are already like on the undergrad pre-med route, like supporting those students and making sure they are doing what they need to do to get to where they're going. Like definitely a mentorship energy. However, between Neptune in the 9th house and also Saturn conjunct Jupiter, it might not feel like yay fun, but it can also pay the bills. Does that make sense?
it does make sense because that doesn't sound fun to me,
No.
but it also
It's not like a good time with Saturn, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I know how to do this. Like that's kind of what's coming in.
yeah, no,
Well,
that I do feel in terms of also guiding women who want to be in specifically surgery because it is a little bit unique in medicine about how to avoid the things that happen to me.
Absolutely. I
that,
think there's hospitals
that's
all over the world that could have you be a speaker or instructor. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Alex.
no. I was gonna say I think that's exactly what it's gonna be like because, funnily enough, I've had multiple clients recently that I've done readings for that are born around your time in the early 1980s that have this Jupiter Saturn conjunction in Libras, right? So in their progressions right now, the people that are born in between 1980 and 1981, then the Jupiter Saturn conjunction, because like in this year there was retrogrades and there's like actually more than one. Well, the conjunction perfected, I think, more than once actually, and there was also a conjunction at 10 degrees of Libra, right, which is also your natal Lilith placement. Right, there's going to be an eclipse this October at 10 degrees of Libra, and that's going to be hitting your progressed Jupiter Saturn conjunction, right? And it's also going to be in like probably in your 7th house by this point, definitely in your 7th house by this point. So I think that there could be, and Libra is all about balance, right? And it's all about like, seeing both sides of an issue. So I feel like maybe there could be something like you're communicating to other people like, okay, hey, this is a imbalance that has existed. I've been affected by it, and I'm going to tell you about it so that you guys can fix it, right? Because this shit's not right, right?
Yeah.
And because
Yeah.
Libra wants balance and wants justice. So I don't know. I would pay attention to what happens around in the month of October, because that eclipse is going to be activating your chart. It's going to be activating this conjunction in your progressions, and it's also going to be at there's going to be activation of. Do you have anything else at 10 degrees? I mean, you do have cardinal angles, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that this fall could be big for you. I would look out for that, and you may have clarity on how to proceed around October. That I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, that is refreshing. The other thing that I didn't know if there were any signs in the chart of like for this situation, I really kind of focused on moving on and for the sake of me and my girls, but is the idea that this situation finds justice one that might be reflected in my chart? Because justice comes in lots of forms. It doesn't always come, in the way that like legal justice per se or settlement or something like that. But is there any sign about that? And then also suggestions on how to work with a 12th house Mars. I know that I think Alex, you may have done some writing about this, but I feel like I am not asserting my will in a very effective way. I'm kind of just like I feel like I'm waiting for something to happen, but that's totally contrary to how I've lived my life up until this point.
Understandable. Being Mars ruled, I can't imagine waiting for anything to happen. But just one thing before Alex jumps in here, I wanted to say art therapy would be huge for you, just because of I don't know how you feel about art, but just like creating something out of your feelings and thoughts and emotions and getting it onto a canvas, even if you never share it with anyone, even if you never really go anywhere with it, it's just something about expressing yourself through an alternative method other than just vocalizing or writing. It's just a creative method of some sort would help open up that heart chakra. And that honestly, at a certain point might even help lessen the what's going to happen next kind of thing, because you're in that moment and just like letting it out.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, that's something I've been thinking about. So maybe I need to dive in a little bit more there.
I mean, I would want to look at other techniques and other your progressions and your other things going on in your chart in order to say for sure. But just looking at your natal chart, it looks like, the victimization and like the justice aspect would be it would perhaps you're not going to get justice for yourself, right? But you may inspire other people to get stand up for themselves, right? Because the 12th house can be like unsung heroes, right? And like standing up for people that are institutionalized or vulnerable or something like this. And I think that like, you might not ever rectify your personal situation because of all this heavy 12th, 6th house stuff, but you might find some validation in inspiring other people to fix their problem. Another thing you could do is, if you are sick of talking about your own problems, right?
Yes.
I think that there is a opportunity for perhaps like fiction, right? Inspired by your own experience because of this close contact with Mercury and Neptune. So maybe the book or the writing is not directly about yourself, but it like you remove yourself for a page, and it like you can craft a narrative that resonates with a lot of people, right? And like, so even if it's not like a memoir, it might be something that, and speaks to people's lives nonetheless.
Yeah, that that idea that I might not find justice for my personal situation, but I would help others, that actually sounds lovely to me. Like that sounds like very on brand for, I don't know, how I feel about humanity and the world and my role in it, or what I would love to leave behind if I could make something better for somebody else. That sounds very appealing.
Yes. I also just wanted to note the North Node's going to shift into the sign of Pisces at the end of January 2025. And by mid-February, you'll have a conjunction with the transiting North Node and your chart ruler, which is that Mars in Pisces. Just kind of piggybacking on some of the things that folks said, including Gracie. If you're looking for like a window of like when to really tap into art therapy or anything in that regard, also like EMDR, brain spotting, that sort of work also tends to be good for the 12th house. That may be a window to consider to start tapping into it because it is a little bit more active.
Awesome. Okay.
Also, there's going to be, yeah, look at these eclipses activating all your Pisces placements. We've got eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo, opposite your chart ruler. We got an eclipse at 15 degrees Pisces, activating your Venus. We've got eclipse, another one here, 13 degrees Virgo, also pretty close. So, I mean, I don't know. I would look out for this eclipse season because this eclipse season between 2025 and 2026, it starts off with activating your Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, and then it goes on to activate all of that 12th house stuff. So maybe all that 12th house suffering that you've been going through is going to finally, you're going to finally be able to use it for something, right?
Yeah. That would be
yeah.
lovely.
So
Okay, cool.
yeah, I would encourage you to because I think you're clearly articulate and intelligent. I mean, you couldn't be a surgeon otherwise, right? Like you have to have a lot of discipline, and I think that I would really look into writing because I love your chart for writing. Like your the Mercury, trine moon, and Neptune being activated. It's just there's lots of things here that I think you can do with writing, and you've also got ruler of the 11th in the 6th, ruler of the 9th in the 6th. Like you're a workhorse, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you can
I am.
relate to a lot of different people. I think people would find you relatable, and you'd be able to get like mass appeal to people, right? Like especially if you just be yourself.
Yeah. I was really good at that in my job. I could make the farmer who hates doctors feel at ease, and I could speak with, the lawyer who has 10 minutes to go over the surgery. Like I was so good at making everybody understand me and also feel comfortable and feel like we would get through the surgery, that they could trust me and get them to do what I wanted them to do as well. It was easy for me. It was one of my favorite parts of my job.
That's really cool. Yeah, I work as an attorney actually. So it's funny that you would work with lawyers. I imagine you would a lot with being a surgeon. That's really cool.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very grateful for the feedback, the advice, and I feel like very lucky to have 4 of you, weighing in and looking at everything. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming on and sharing your chart with everyone. I know it's not easy to do, and it's people like you that make the show possible. So thank you for sharing your personal story and your life with us. I'm very grateful.
Well, thank you again, and keep doing this. It's so fun.
Okay, great. I think we've got one more caller on the line here now. Listeners of the show might recognize this person. This person called in last month. Daryl, I think he's back on the line. He was the Trump supporter that wanted to raise hell with us. So let's. He was messaging me earlier. I decided, all right, I'm gonna give him another chance, see what he has to say. So, all right, Daryl. All right, what do you what's up? What do you got to say?
I'm shocked you had the balls to answer.
Well, what
meet
you think
again.
I'm gonna?
We meet again, Satan's mistress.
What? Come on, man. I mean,
I
why?
see you
I'm
added.
not
I
gonna run
see you
away.
added a couple. I see you added a couple new faces to your unholy satanic cult. So I got to deal with y'all, all y'all now. Y'all ganging up on me.
We
see
are
how
a
it is.
council, Daryl.
Well, you know what? You might be shocked to learn that I had a whole new ass issue with my son. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
all
what
because
was
of your
that?
show. Excuse me?
What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. Motherfucker, my son took the desktop computer, ripped it out in the damn wall, cords and all. Every single fucking cord, he ripped it out in the damn wall. And he's got it somewhere, I don't know. He's probably going out with one of his friends, took the damn computer, ripped it out the wall. And I'm using my wife's work computer. She's got to use it for work. Of course, he don't care about that. It don't matter to him. And also, I got to tell, I'm on Twitter. So I read all this shit your followers been writing about me. I read every single comment. You called me a homophobe. I'm not homophobic. I don't care about that shit. I don't care that he's, doing gay shit like painting his nails. I don't care that he's just dyeing his hair. I don't give a shit about none of that. All I care about is that he's having sex with men.
Right. Why is that a problem?
Because I raised him straight. Look, man.
You raised him straight.
You could explain it a couple ways, and I don't understand. Y'all types don't seem to understand. It's so simple. Y'all can raise, like, kids get in this country. We have freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom to do what y'all want. So if I want to raise my kids straight, that's fine. But and if anyone else wants to raise their kid gay or Presbyterian or whatever other denomination they want to do. So you could raise your kid Lutheran, you could raise your kid Jewish, you could raise your kid, like we're a Papa John's family. And there's other families, they get Domino's. They might get some other place, Little Caesars even. But I'm not one to judge. And I'm not going to judge if your family eats Little Caesars. But the point being, you're free to do what you want. I raised him straight.
Well, look, Aiden's messaging me. Once you joined, he was immediately in my DMs, and he wants to come on. So maybe let's add Aiden in, and you guys can sort this out.
He was watching the stream. I swear to God, because he hadn't been answering my calls for the past 3 hours. I've been getting shit hammered in my car. I'm worried sick.
Aiden, are you on? Can you? Oh wait, Aiden dropped off. Wait, I think he's having problems connecting.
I swear to God, if he has damaged the desktop in any way, shape, or form, I'm taking off the belt. I'm taking it off.
I mean, look, there's no reason to be violent, Daryl. I mean, come on, you guys surely can sort this out.
It's a metaphor.
You're a reasonable enough guy, aren't you? I mean, come on.
I've never been accused of being reasonable.
Daryl, are you a Gemini?
I don't even know what that means. Look,
Daryl, when's your birthday?
All I know.
Give me a day, Daryl. Give me a day.
All I know. I read the Twitter comment. I went on your show. I was brave enough to confront your ass for converting my son to. I'm not sure if this is a form of Islam. It sort of seems like it, or something similar. Either way, it's anti-Christian. And what you've done is you converted him. Now he's painting his nails, watching movies like The Crow. It's fucked up. But that's fine. I could live with all that. But he's been talking shit. All y'all people have been talking shit online about me, calling me I'm a homophobe. I never said one homophobic thing. I just think it's gross. I don't care. I don't care if you raise your kids gay. I just didn't raise mine that way. I think it's great. And I'm a guy who's got feelings, okay? So when y'all call me, I learn new words on the internet because y'all call me cringe. Y'all call me all sorts of fucked up shit. And I know cringe is bad now. I didn't know what that meant. I know it now. You call me cringe. You say, he's homophobic. He's this. What a jackass. Fuck that guy. But I got feelings too. Okay? I run the gamut. I run the fucking gamut of emotions. I feel things. I'm hurt by your comments. I'm a complicated guy. One day I could be angry. The next day I could be mad.
We're not trying to make anyone
next day
feel
I could
bad.
be pissed. So it's lots of emotions. Y'all hurt my feelings, but that's fine. I can take it. Because y'all just not. You just got Twitter.
I think he's a
What?
Sagittarius.
Did you just cut out?
Pisces moon, maybe a little bit
If
of
you saw,
Pisces.
if you saw me in the
Yeah.
Goodlettsville
It's
parking
giving
lot,
me Andrew Tate. Giving me Andrew Tate.
is that a basketball player?
No.
Oh my
Where's
god.
Aiden?
Aries
So
rising. for
where is
sure.
Aiden? Aiden, come back. It says his tech. Oh wait, here he is. Here's Aiden.
We got
Aiden.
Aiden.
Why can't I enable you? Oh, here we go. All right, here we go. Aiden, can you say something, Aiden?
Some bitch. Where you been?
Do I really have to talk to you like this?
I'm your father. You have to talk to me. I'm your fucking father.
I'm surprised you even found the number to sign into the show. Like, seriously, Dad, you're so embarrassing.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassing. I got to tell the guys at work why my son is painting his nails like a girl and putting on makeup and wearing purple hair and not being a member of Motley Crue.
Listen, I know I would be mad too if my son was slaying the day, but like, bear with me. You're a fascist. That's a fact.
Do not
Secondly,
call me a faggot. Do not call me a faggot.
excuse me, can
If
you
anything,
pick up
it's
a
the
book and
exact
learn some
opposite.
reading comprehension, Dad? I said a fascist. Do you even know what that means?
I actually don't.
Oh my god, it's so cringe. I mean, like, you can't get any worse.
Hey, are you gonna return? Are you gonna return the computer? Because I got to file taxes. I had to file an extension.
Excuse me, but I need it
TurboTax is
for
only
my
on the
circle.
desktop. It's only on the desktop. So, and your mom slaved all day over craft dinner. If you're not coming home for dinner, you at least have to say. And if you're not going to bring the
Dad,
desktop back,
I'm so
I got to
tired.
figure out a whole way
I'm
to.
so tired. You are the reason why I started smoking. Do you even know that?
Everybody in the family smokes. Why is that a problem?
I mean, I'm a Pisces sun, Aquarius
You're not talking
moon,
about
and
weed, are you?
rising. Do you even know what that means? Like, I am so ruined by our relationship. Like,
This is a problem I have with you, Aiden, and you know, I didn't want to air it out on a whatever public talk show, but the fact of the matter is, you become a major fucking drama queen ever since you started hanging out with the fucking theater kids at school and doing this witchcraft shit. And by the way, I know you think I'm stupid. I see one of you got a Crow t-shirt on. The other one's got a fucking picture of Liza Minnelli on her shirt. And so this shit, I know you're making fun of me but this is the way the rest of the country thinks. And Aiden, you don't know it yet, but you're fucking brainwashed by this shit.
Dad,
You're brainwashed by it. And
seriously, I don't mean to air it out, but you should hear what I tell my therapist about you.
How much you paying her?
Seriously, dude.
No, what I want to know, and I don't know where you're getting your money, but I know you're paying these people to read your horoscopes or to do your nails or paint your hair or whatever it is they're doing for you. And I don't know where you're getting the money for it because it ain't coming from me. We cut you off 2 months ago.
Listen, Dad, I have my witchcraft. I've drawn those pentagrams in the hardware floors. So, I've casted the right essence into the air that I'm benefiting. And you're just mad. Just admit your chakras are unbalanced.
Hold
and
on.
You're angry.
I thought you said your friend did the shit on the hardwood. That was you?
Let's forget I even said anything.
This
Dad.
is not fucking funny. Do you see what you've done to him? He was a nice kid before this shit.
Sorry, but I actually bought a talisman
shirt,
from
the
Alex.
Liza Minnelli shirt. If y'all want to take responsibility for the monster you've created, it's hardwood flooring. You can't take it up. You have to sand it down.
Fine,
There's a
I'll stop
pentagram
trying
in
to
it.
summon Saturn in the middle of the living room. Can you get off of my case already? Just drink some moon water and take a chill pill, dude.
Dude, I gotta tell you, You know, I talked to the guys at work about you, and some of them are near your, some are like 20, 21, 22-year-old guys, and they agree with me. Like it's a lot of like Latino guys on the assembly line, and they're saying, look, you're not speaking your son's language. He's not going to relate to what you're saying. He's not going to be able to understand why you're mad. And it's so simple. Because look, man, Aiden, I don't care. I don't care if you're going to go ahead and dress like, Nikki Sixx. Okay, if you want to dye your hair and paint your nails, I don't give a shit. But you got to be getting pussy out of it.
Oh my God, Dad. I told you I'm non-binary and demisexual, so it's really hard for me to get out there. And secondly, you're not spiritually enlightened enough to even talk to me like that. So what do I care
don't know
about
what
the
the
car
difference
wash
between
people?
non-binary and gay even is.
Well, I'm not surprised considering your name says, like, you're acting like you're on Google right now. What is wrong with you, Dad? Do you not know what gyat means?
What are you talking about?
Dad, please. Your name on the show is embarrassing. Like, you're killing me.
How do I look? How do I see what it is? Because I can't.
Your name says Daryl Whitehead Yat, meaning what does Yat mean slang? That's your username on the stream right now, Daryl. Were you aware of that?
I apologize about the username. I didn't it was an I was trying to Google something. It wasn't that, but
oh, it's okay, ladies and gentlemen. He's the type of guy that just posts his Google searches on his Facebook statuses. Are we really surprised? Are we
I did
really
that
surprised?
I'm not on trial here. So number one, the whole reason I fucking called into this shit show is to get the desktop back. It's the only computer in the house that has TurboTax.
Sorry, but the girlies and I need it for movie night, so I'm not gonna give it back.
You see what I'm dealing with? Is this respectful behavior from a child? I raised you.
Aiden is an adult, is he not? You said he was 19.
You should hear what he did for my 18th birthday.
He's got no money. I mean, he's like an adult in the sense that, like, when you're an adult just because you are one, he can't do anything for himself. I got to pay for everything. He stole the desktop. He doesn't have a laptop. He doesn't have a computer. I want it back.
All right, so Aiden, why did you steal the desktop?
Obviously I wanted it for myself, and I didn't want my dad trying to watch Wolf of Wall Street for a 5th time. He keeps trying to make me watch it, thinking I'm going to turn straight by watching it.
It's a good movie. I don't know you don't get to decide what I watch. The whole reason I know why you fucking took the desktop. It's because you don't like the family locks. We put family locks to block Twitter because it's bad for you. It turned you into this. It's fucked up. And you're being disrespectful to me. You're being disrespectful to your mama. What am I supposed to do? I can put family locks on it. I can't lock the damn fucking desktop. It's a nice desktop too. It's an Acer monitor.
Really? The one that you found while dumpster diving?
That's not even true. It's this fucking shit that I can't stand with you, dude. You're making shit up. I didn't find it dumpster diving.
Well, look,
maybe
isn't there something you guys can relate on, right? Like Daryl, you mentioned that you liked Motley Crue and you liked hair metal, you liked the pageantry, you liked the showmanship. I mean, like, isn't there some way that you guys can have like some kind of common ground? I mean, come on,
guys.
Not a
beauty competition. It's not a pageant. These guys were getting pussy and doing coke. That's cool. Being like in a beauty pageant is gay. Am I crazy? I feel like I'm speaking to a brick wall.
Is cis hetero man.
What? I literally didn't. I don't understand what those words mean. You just call me a sissy?
You need to get off the internet if that's the case. I mean, like, I don't even know why you're on the show when you don't even care about astrology. Like,
I do care. I care because it's fucked up. This shit is poison to the brain. it makes you dumb. I mean, you don't even understand the difference between, like, you know, my need for TurboTax and your need to watch, I guess, movies. I gotta file taxes, dude. It's how we live. So, and if I don't have TurboTax, I
Maybe
don't.
you would know how
It's
to
not
do that
on your mama's laptop.
if you studied astrology.
I don't. So what? I don't know astronomy.
Dad, oh my God, you're killing my vibe right now. I need to ask you to get off of the show.
Astronomy.
What if you guys like? I mean, you know, I mean,
I'll get
someone in
off.
the
Look,
chat
I'll take,
says,
no. I'll get off the show the second I get the safe return of the Acer monitor and the gateway. I need it. So, and you, I swear to God, I know. I swear to God, I know you're not strapping it in with the seatbelt. You're supposed to strap it in. It's fragile. It is old. If you don't strap it in the back seat when you're driving back with it, it will fucking break. So I need you to take
what
care
if
of
I
it.
never come back home and I just stay with my girls and then hang out on Discord all day? You can never tell me what to do anymore.
Discord is fucking banned. That's the first site we banned because it was a bunch of weird people dressing up like foxes and squirrels and dogs. I don't even know what that shit is.
I can't believe you've gone
I
through
think
my
those are
personal
called
things.
furries, Daryl. I think those are called furries.
I'm not gonna
I don't
argue
know.
with you. And the fact of the matter is, you've clearly chosen other parents. You've chosen these people to guide you, to be your fucking parents, and that's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. But you're gonna return my property. You're gonna return my property, and you won't go live in the fields and in the Wicker Man and in the Burning Man, and you want to go to Las Vegas and you want to go and light shit on fire and dance around it naked. I don't give a shit. But you're gonna return the desktop.
I mean, Daryl does have a point here. You like, it is his computer. I mean, you know.
First reasonable thing you've said all fucking night. I by the way, I've been falling asleep listening to the past fucking 45 minutes of this shit. It is, oh my God, y'all talk like one of these. I don't know how you decide who gets on the show, but one of these people's like, oh my God, people are slandering me. People talk shit about me. People have been talking shit about me since I went on your show the first time. They're saying all sorts of fucking mean ass shit. And it's like, I've done nothing but try to raise my child. And I'm not telling anybody how to raise theirs. I'll raise him straight. He can do whatever he wants except be gay. And I don't understand the problem with that fundamentally.
You know what he means by he tried to make me straight? Well, he took me to Hooters for my 18th birthday, and I don't think that's a good dad move on your end, Dad.
Hooters is a family-friendly place. I don't even know what you're talking about. It's a perfectly reasonable. I took you there when you was 5. The waitresses loved you, and you loved the waitresses. You fell asleep on one of them. It wasn't sexual. I know what y'all think. It wasn't sexual. Just breasts are soft.
Okay.
Well,
all right.
I do like Hooters food better than Papa John's.
The wings are better. The wings are better at Hooters.
Finally,
somebody fucking reasonable. Look, you're gonna return the fucking computer or not? I don't have all night.
Sorry, Dad, but I don't think you're gonna see me all week. I'm just gonna do it to piss you off.
And I can't even say how typical that is. This is what you've created, but this is what I've got to deal with. This is what families across the USA have got to deal with.
We do not promote theft. Just putting it out there.
I mean, Aiden, like, you know, there's got to be. I mean, you can't just keep the computer, right? You got to give it back at some point, right? Like, if you need it for a couple more days, like Daryl, you willing to live with it if Aiden returns it over the weekend?
I don't get. If he returns it within the next 2 days, I will possibly not beat his ass. Possibly. If he drops it off on the stoop and I don't get a chance to beat his ass, then so be it. That's the way it's going to be. But the point being, I will be less pissed if the computer is returned. And the monitor. And it better still have TurboTax installed.
Here's the deal. If you want the desktop back, you're gonna have to, one, get a Reiki session done on you to cleanse that nasty energy off of
I'm not
you.
gonna get raped.
And secondly, you're gonna need me
It won't
to
happen.
get a reading for your birth
can
chart
try it.
because I need to know what's going on in that damn 7th house. Like, you're a mess, Dad.
Number one, I'm not getting raped or doing a rape session or whatever it is. Number two, I don't own more than one house. I don't. Unlike you people, you fucking, the frustration here. I don't know what else to say.
Look,
here.
isn't there some way you can relate to Aiden, right? Like, do you have anything in common? I mean, like, look, Daryl, have you made an effort to try and understand where Aiden's coming from?
Not even remotely.
Why not?
Sometimes I like to steal his ties and take like 2007 my scene pics.
I don't see. Can you relate to that shit? I don't even know what that means. I'll be like,
I was on MySpace in 2007. It was popping. You know, bulletin board quizzes. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
the music
those were
play
cute.
boxes.
See, Dad, this is why I always have to tune into the show, because she just gets it. You wouldn't get it.
I guess I wouldn't. And I guess you're not my son anymore.
What about those guys that you talked about that were Aiden's age at work? Like, did they tell you anything that could help you?
They just said I gotta put my ear to the streets. They said I gotta listen to the culture, and so I did. I mean, I listened to some stuff. I listened to some, like, you know, stuff they said, you know, people don't respect what old people have to say no more. They said people don't respect, you know, when old people talk and tell them shit. And they said your son will respect you if you understand how to talk to him. And so I tried to learn the slang. I tried to learn what a yeah is. I tried to learn what it means to say FR, fam. I tried to learn this type of stuff, but it didn't help. The only thing that I did find, I listened to some music they recommended me. One was this guy, what was his name? Yeah, this guy, Lil Yachty. This guy,
all right.
This guy said exactly what I was saying the first time I came on your show. Aiden, it's been what I've been saying to you basically this entire time, which is I don't give a shit if you're going to paint your nails or dress like, you know, a chick. You can do that, but get pussy doing it. There's a song.
What did Lil Yachty say?
I listened to I'll fucking tell you. It's a song called "Solo Steppin' Creep Boy" by Lil Yachty. He said, I gotta go to Genius. He said,
Dad, you're listening to totally different music that I even care about. I mean, like, you're not even mentioning Sisters of Mary Alice or fucking, like, I'm trying to look for some My Chemical Romance. You know, you're not even speaking my language. That's the problem. You're so tone deaf. It hurts.
Because you can't even listen. I'm about to hit you with some fucking hot fire. All my bitches seem official. No, that's not the line. Shit. He says bitch a lot, and I'm trying to find the line where he says it in one of these. I got a bitch up in the kitchen wearing them coochie cutter. No. Your baby daddy broke. No need for him to write. No. Oh, yeah. It's this one. I fuck up. No, it's not that one. Shit.
Oh, he said,
God, he says I paint my nails, bitches fucking still. So this guy, I looked him up, I Google image searched him. He does paint his nails, but he says I paint my nails, bitches fucking still. So bitches, he's still getting bitches doing that. I don't know why that's so hard for you. This guy's like 22. So this is your generation.
Somebody got to put a hex on him before I do, because I'm getting tired of the antics. Okay, I don't need your straight man advice.
Don't encourage people to put a hex on Lil Yachty. I just use him as an
I mean,
example.
Lil Yachty is cool, right? Let's leave Lil Yachty.
Zero need for that kind of hostility.
Oh my god, Dad, your cringe made Alex's camera freeze. I can't believe this shit.
It's devil worship.
We've got to find some common ground here, though. You know, Lil Yachty, Motley Crue, they're not so different. You know, we can find meanings here. We can find all sorts of things. And
I can think
Aiden,
of one big difference, but I won't say. Y'all hate me already enough. I won't say what the big difference is between those two things. But I think y'all know.
we
what
just
it is.
want your birth chart, Daryl.
I'm not.
Daryl, tell us what's on your heart, Daryl.
It's like if I gave you a full mold of my own body in order to stick pins in it. I'm not going to give you my birth chart. Y'all going to use it like a voodoo doll. That's what Aiden wants too. He wants me to get into this shit. I would never.
Of course, Dad.
You got to at least tell us your birthday. Can you share that information?
Aiden, I swear to God, if you tell them my birthday, I will just get more
Honestly,
drunk.
you're lucky I really don't care about you that much because I don't remember.
Oh, same to you. Same to you, Aiden. Fine. Fuck you. Fuck the desktop, too. I don't even fucking want it. Take it. Watch your movies. Watch The Crow. Listen to fucking Sisters of Mercy or whatever the fuck you're going to do. I don't give a shit. All I want is for you to get the fuck out of my life. If you're going to be with these devil worshippers, if you're going to be with these people, and you're going to ask for my birthday, hell no. Fuck that shit.
Are you
I'm not
guys
giving it to
hearing
you.
this? Like, he has zero reading comprehension and also very selective hearing, clearly. But I don't know what you expect of me, Dad, but I don't care about the day you were born.
Look, man,
Daryl, how are you going to get your taxes done if we don't get this computer situation fixed?
Finally, somebody with some practical sense. I mean, it's the only thing I've been trying to do, and it's weird because it benefits Aiden. I have to do. You always you're like, oh, I'm a legal adult. Yeah, you're a legal adult who doesn't do his own taxes. I have to do your taxes, and the way I do it is TurboTax. And guess what? The only computer TurboTax is on is the desktop, which you
Listen,
took.
Dad, I don't need to know how to do taxes when I have the power of Saturn on my side. Like, do you even know what I'm talking about? Of course you don't.
I know it's the one. It's the one with the rings. Man, I don't even know.
Congrats! Oh my god, that's the first thing he actually said correctly on the show. That's incredible. It took you this long, right, Dad?
Listen, if you drop the desktop computer off on the stoop tomorrow morning, you won't be up in the morning anyway, so if you drop it off anytime tomorrow, shit'll be fine. We'll be cool. We can have Papa John's and everything will be fine. I'll get extra ranch cups, extra garlic cups, whatever you want. Just bring it back.
Listen,
I'm going to owe a shitload of money to the IRS.
I got it. Hey, I'm back. Wow, this kept going. Even when I dropped out. That's amazing. Holy shit, I thought the whole thing went down.
Well,
my power just went out. My power just blinked
talk to my
off.
son on a private channel. I mean,
power. Perfect timing.
Can I talk to my son?
So this kept going.
Can I speak to my son in private? How do I get off this shit?
This is the gift that keeps giving.
It says my name is Gracie. I mean, all right, look, you guys.
I fixed it for you.
Look, can you both agree Lil Yachty's cool? I mean, that's something you guys have in common, right? You think Lil Yachty's cool, Daryl, right?
He's all right. He's got some bars, I'll admit.
All right, what about you, Aiden?
I don't know if I would associate myself entirely with Lil Yachty, but I can't hate his artistry.
I mean, I think he's fucking dope, personally, but you know, to each their own. All right, look, you got to give the computer back at some point, Aiden, right?
Maybe after yoga, I'll drop it off. But, you know, I'm going to have to really consolidate the planets and what I feel is right to do because I'm not quite sure I want to give it back all the way.
If you bring it back, everything's cool. Bring it back.
This is
All right, let's see what the
resolution.
panel has to say. Gracie, Jamal, Jess, what do you guys think? What should happen here?
I think you guys have more in common than you think, yet you have yet to reach common ground. So the best way to move forward is at least respectfully giving people back their stuff. And then Aiden, maybe we can see what we can do to, figure out your computer situation. There's always all sorts of things that you can do to earn money and get your own. So if your dad is going to continually call you broke and other terrible things, then you can just earn your independence and get out of there. We got to do things right the first way.
That's not. It's not. I mean, it's true. Why is that so bad? He is broke. Literally,
well, look,
I don't know what
this?
else he would be doing for money.
One of the specialties I offer with my readings is synastry, which is astrological
I know he'd probably be
compatibility,
selling feet pics on Grindr or something.
to help people find common ground with each other. So what if you guys came on next month and I looked at both your charts and lined them up, and we got to look at your astrological synastry and your compatibility and see what common ground there is for you two? Because, I mean, Daryl, you clearly care about your son, right? Like, you wouldn't be calling in if you didn't actually care.
I mean, first and foremost, I care about the desktop monitor. I care about the desktop computer, but in a secondary way, I guess I also do care about my son to an extent. As long as he's not embarrassing me. But it's the computer. Mostly, I would like the computer back. But yes, further down that list is my son. I do care. He's just been a real shithead, real asshole. So, what the fuck?
Honestly, we definitely need a synastry reading, and I'm so glad Alex brought that up. And this is why Alex is so much cooler than you, Dad. Sorry, but you wouldn't understand what it is like to read synastry and know that we all have a bunch of houses in us, and they're all talking to each other. Did you even know that, Dad?
I don't even know what that means. I want my gateway back. I don't know how many ways I can say it. I want the fucking gateway back.
All right, so here, Daryl, I'm going to put it in terms that you can understand, right? So, when you tune in to Fox News at night and, like, Tucker Carlson is, like, saying some, like, impotent rage propaganda bullshit to, like, provoke, like, the, like, working class that feels alienated from modern culture, and, like, you buy into all that shit, right?
I don't like that he wears a bow
you
tie,
feel like you
but I
relate
do
to him,
like what
right?
he says.
All right. Well, so have you ever tried to listen to an opinion you don't agree with, right, and see if there's something you can understand about it?
Why the fuck? Why would I want to do that?
Aren't you curious about other perspectives and how other people think?
Not even remotely. That sounds gay.
No, not at all. Well, I mean, I guess it is a little bit gay.
Hell
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You got a point there, But, I think you can, I'm still optimistic you and Aiden can find some common ground, right? You guys.
Well, I think the first common ground we can
different.
find is that he returns my computer and I don't whoop his ass for not returning it. And I think if we can start there, we can build a real nice, productive relationship where I tolerate his purple hair and, his odd choice of lipstick and, desire to wear makeup as a male child. And I can get behind all that, and we can negotiate that, but he needs to return the fucking desktop.
Dad, my solar return chart said that I needed to, like, stand up more for myself. So I'm just going to do that. Okay. I'm going to stay in my lane and do me. And if it bothers you, I'm sorry, Dad, but, like, I am too old for you to take control over anymore.
You're getting cut off.
Whatever.
Right up.
I find my ways.
I'm gonna tell your mom tonight. You are cut off.
Venus, I have my ways.
You are so fucking cut off. Holy shit, you are so cut off. I'm not paying your gas bill. I'm not paying whatever you do to that fuck. I swear to God, do not fucking hurt that monitor. But it doesn't even matter no more. If you hurt the monitor, that's the
Aiden,
that's the
I'm
last
curious.
computer
Have
you'll
you
ever
looked
have.
into these family locks that he's put on the computer? Like, what exactly is he blocking you from?
Honestly, he blocked me from everything except the she-mail porn website, which is like really curious, and I really would love to know what that's about, Dad.
I can't account for the websites that you visit. I do not even know what shemailtube.com is. I've never even heard of it.
I don't think Aiden
I've
mentioned
never
the
heard of that
actual
particular
website.
website. Nor have
Aiden didn't say a shemailtube.com. That's you, Daryl. You said a shemailtube.com. Aiden said shemail porn site. You were the one that said a shemailtube.com. So I think, are you jacking it to trannies?
I mean, if the shoe fits.
I must have heard about it. I must have heard about it somewhere else.
It's. I'm not gonna hate on it, right? It's exotic, right? It's exciting, right? Chick with a dick. That's different, right?
I'm getting an urgent call. I've got to go.
Okay.
Good night, Daryl.
Okay. Wow, he dropped out.
Totally
did we
not
hit a nerve there?
suspicious.
Yeah, that's definitely not sus at all. Okay. All right,
Aiden,
Aiden. Well,
Aiden.
Aiden, glad to have you on the show. I know you're a big fan.
Yeah,
Thanks for calling in.
I really appreciate
but you
it.
really should consider giving your dad his computer back. Stealing is not right, no matter who you're stealing from. Even if you're stealing from like Walmart, you're still stealing, right? So it doesn't matter how bad the person is. You can't just take their property and run away with it, right? You gotta give the computer back, really.
You're right. Maybe I'll have to consult the planets on that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We're here for
All
it.
right.
All right.
Okay, guys. Well, I think we are out of time for this evening, but try and convince your dad to call in next month and we'll do a Sinistry reading with you guys. All right?
Yeah, we definitely need it.
I understand where you're coming from. I was alienated from my family for a long time when I came out, but you have to you can always build bridges, right? Even with people that seem diametrically opposed to you. And the important thing is to keep an open mind and to look for common ground, because people that are enemies, they have more in common than they first appear. And you should, don't close your mind off to the opportunities, because it is your dad, right? You never know. You never know what can happen.
So true. Anything could happen.
Thank you, Aiden. This has been very enlightening. Many perspectives to consider.
You guys called me off to hear it, because I could not take it anymore to see him do that on here.
Well, we love you, Aiden. We're behind you, and just keep doing your thing. Don't fold. Don't let the bastards grind you down, right?
So true.
Keep your head up.
Thank you. You have a good.
Okay, guys. Wow, that was crazy.
That took a turn.
Welcome to Astro Live.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Just a reminder, we have another episode of Astrology Deathmatch coming up next weekend on June 29th. That's going to be Astrolo John versus Jupiter's Bunny, right? And then after that, we've got another episode. We'll be back August 1st for the next episode of Astro Live. So, yeah. We will keep coming back, and thank you all for tuning in. And everyone, I know there was a lot of people that didn't want their chart read, that didn't get a chance to get their chart read. I'm going to try and come up with some kind of system to queue people up. And,
like a Google form.
Yeah, to make like a list so that there can be like a waiting list for this, so that the people that didn't get their chart read tonight, hopefully we can get to you in August. But thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Jamal. Thank you, Jess. This has been so much fun to have you guys join. And it's just happy summer solstice to everyone. This is a wonderful time of year to really just kick it off with a gathering of the minds like this, and laugh a lot. I couldn't help myself. I was cracking up the whole time, and I can't wait for Empress to turn this into another set of memes. So I'm ready for
Yeah,
this.
hopefully Empress Atlantis will finally come on. She's been dodging me, but I hope
She's
she
the
will come
elusive
on.
one. Yeah, she's
Well, I
everywhere.
mean, I talked to her, but then it's like, is she gonna come on? Is she not? Da, 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 da. We've got another guest next month, Astro Bitch on Twitter. He's gonna be on next month for August 1st. I noticed someone was saying when you guys said Astro Deathmatch, this is not what I expected. Okay, so there's actually two shows that we do. There's the quiz show, which is Astrology Deathmatch, and this is Astro Live, where we read the charts live. So there's actually two shows on this channel. I know the title of the channel can be confusing. I made the channel before I decided I was going to do this. So sorry, but not sorry. It's cool anyway. All right. But again, big thank you to Jess and Jamal and Gracie. Check out Gracie's magazine, The Northern. And also, Jamal had a great article about where he breaks down the Jeff Bezos chart, Amazon's chart. It's a great read. I had a read of it earlier. She's doing great stuff. And who
Thank
knows?
you.
Maybe next issue I will be writing an article.
I was gonna say, hopefully,
So,
Jess and Alex, I would love to have your brains included into the fold. It's like I want everyone possible. I try to pay writers and just give back to the people that put so much effort into these articles, because there's a lot of love, there's a lot of knowledge, and even with Jamal's, I'm sitting here learning so much as I'm just reading over. I'm like, damn, this really does make sense. But astrology can be used for everything and anything, and you can find your personal or your brand's magic within your chart. So I just encourage people to keep records of time. I recently got birth time after using one that was an hour off. I rectified the proper minute, so good for me. But it's such a blessing to have that. And so if you know the time of things, it's super cool to look back and see their magic. And somebody even asked about the chart of the show, and I know I have it somewhere. They're like, is this a 10th house Scorpio chart? And I'm like, who knows?
right. Well, yeah, the chart of the show, that could be interesting. Yeah, we'll have to pull that. Also, I would just like to say that I'm grateful for the other astrologers coming on here, making this a panel thing. I think it's great to give people a diversity of perspectives, and all of us have, different strengths, different things we like to focus on. Gracie's with her Sabian symbols is always like a great pull. Jess and Jamal had great insights, and like we all have different perspectives, and that's what I want Astro Life to be about, is like a group of a panel of people coming together to make it because we all did tend to agree, even if we got there in different ways. And to me, that's the beauty of astrology, is the fractal nature of it, and how we can arrive at the same reads on people, even if we use different techniques, right? Some of us might be more modern, some of us might be more traditional, but it all works. And to me, that's the beauty of astrology. And that's why I love having multiple perspectives on here, and, us trying to understand each other. So again, thank all of you for coming on. It's been a great show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for having me. This was amazing.
And we've got just check out our ad. So we've got everyone in. I did not include Jess's ad on the description of this show because I would edit it after, but she joined kind of as a last minute thing. I didn't, when Gracie told me you were joining, I thought you wanted your chart read. I didn't realize you're going to join for chart reads, but that turned out great because you had awesome things to say. So
thank you.
Yeah.
I was happy to be a part of, for sure.
All right, guys. Well, here, I am going to sign off, but here we go. Pour one more glass of wine. Cheers. Cheers to all of you. Oh, wait, I've got the cap on. Maybe I've had more to drink than I realized.
Why is it not pouring?
I don't have anything to drink.
Yeah. Why is the wine not pouring? All right. So, and Aiden and Daryl, hopefully we can mend this bridge between you two, because, we're not so people are people, right? We can find common ground.
Amen.
So I hope you guys tune in next month.
Yes. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
See ya.